Hello and welcome to episode 52 of Gamers of Lost Spark podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Chesson, and joining me this week, it's the other Spark on the pod. It's the older and, dare I say, wiser Mr. Darren Whitten. Hello, sir. How you doing?
Hi, Anthony. How are you? Thank you for that. Yeah, it's been my birthday. An older, wiser, more reflective chap I became.
You're the other side of 40 now.
yeah. I've had my 40th year and enjoyed it. And here I am, starting on my 41st.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, the most important thing was, A, did you get presents? And B, was there cake?
There was cake.
Awesome.
Yeah, I got a caterpillar cake selected by my son, which is really awesome, which I've still got some left of. And, yeah, I got some presents too. I didn't really want anything. I only got... My Vive was for my 40th birthday. I only just got that. So I was like, I can't think of anything else apart from maybe pre-ordering the Dark Souls board game, but then that would be for next birthday.
Right.
So I was just like, I don't really want anything, apart from a couple of games maybe. So I got those games. I'll mention them later, obviously, but I got Dark Souls 3.
Right.
I got Ratchet and Clank. So that's good. And what else did I got? Some gaming books. A to Z of cool games from days gone by, from the old systems, which is quite cool. And I got some origami stuff because I thought I was racking my brains trying to think of what to ask for. Because Claire's like, "Tell me, throw me a bone," because it's horrible when you can't think of what to get somebody, and I sort of don't want anything. And then I had Brainwave, and I was like, I could get some origami. I quite like doing that. And I used to do it, and I've forgotten how to do it now. So I got a few books of origami. One you'd like, Star Wars origami.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. So Star Wars origami, really lovely book. And it's got, I don't know, it starts with sort of episode 1 and goes right up to 6. And it's got like ships, and droids and stuff. It's got like one of Chewbacca, I think, R2-D2, Millennium Falcon, Starfighters. And I was looking at this and I was like, am I going to have to draw this on paper for ages to make it look like these pictures? And I went, wait a minute. And I got to the back and it's got specially sort of illustrated sheets.
Oh, wow.
So that when you fold it up, it's all got all the detail on. So your Millennium Falcon's got, it's drawn all perfectly. So when you follow the folds, it's all decorated nicely, and it all looks with like space grey and stuff. It's got all the intricate details on it. So yeah, that's really cool. A bit of origami. I haven't started doing that yet. Yeah, a few books and that, this and that really. Some gaming cash to bank, ready to jump on the next game that I desire.
Right.
And that's about it, really. Yeah.
Fantastic. Superb. Sounds like you got a right stash.
I did get a right stash. Oh, what else did I get? Yeah, inspired by Better Call Saul, because I just finished watching season 2. I loved it when they went to the bar and they ordered some drinks. They ended up drinking Moscow Mules. I don't know if you've seen it, but anyway, they drink Moscow Mules and they get them served in these awesome cups, which are big copper cups. Okay, and that I thought I did a bit of looking up on this because I was impressed by these copper cups in 4K. I was like, look at that cocktail, it's awesome. What is a Moscow Mule anyway? I didn't even know. So a Moscow Mule is ice, vodka, fresh lime, and ginger beer.
Nice,
like fiery ginger beer. But the way to serve it properly is in one of these copper cups. That's the proper way, to do it. So I was watching this and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I started reading up about Moscow Mules, and they were all saying, yeah, you got to have a copper cup. So she got me a couple of these copper cups as well.
Wow.
And they're really good, and they sort of really frost over when you fill them with ice, and they've got a bit too much room in them, and it's just great. You stick your ice in, put a bit of vodka in or whatever, get a lime, squeeze it, then chop it up, add that, and then top with loads of ginger beer, and it tastes beautiful. And it's just, I don't know if the copper adds something to the taste or whether it's just for aesthetics, but yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, so I had a couple of them, and that was good.
Nice. A couple of big tankards of Moscow Mule.
Yeah, copper tankards of Moscow Mule. So yeah, if people listening haven't tried a Moscow Mule, it's a cocktail worth trying.
Oh, I got drunk bad, like really drunk on a Moscow Mule. I was in Edinburgh in a karaoke bar in Edinburgh, and I got really drunk on Moscow Mules. I just kept bringing in like kind of picture after picture of Moscow Mules, and we got incredibly drunk. It was really funny because I was with a group of people I worked with at that point, And when you're in, like, we're in a karaoke room and we're very drunk, so you got those two kind of factors. You think, we sound amazing, we sound like we should be in a band. This is fantastic, this is amazing. And then I went outside to go to the toilet, and then as I was kind of coming back, it just sounded like someone was just banging a bag of cats on the side of a wall. It was horrible, and I was like, God, someone's really terrible. And I opened the door, and it was us. It was like, so it was just like, oh no, good times, good cocktail too.
Yeah,
good call.
Excellent. Yeah, so that's me. What about you?
I've had a bit of a quiet week, actually. We had, obviously, your birthday fell on the bank holiday. Had a bank holiday, so I've been doing some DIY, playing some games, watching some movies. I've been catching up on some movies that I haven't seen. Lots of stuff's come to Apple TV and stuff. So I watched, over the weekend, I watched 3 movies. I watched Joy, which was the the new David O. Russell movie, which is really good, very uplifting, very kind of cockle-warming. Great David O. Russell movie. And we also watched Spotlight, which was an interesting one. It was it won an Oscar for Best Picture, and it's about a newspaper reporting about kind of child abuse by the church. It's quite a hard
bit of a contrast with those two films.
Exactly. Well, there was even more of a contrast because there was a bit of a hard. It doesn't really kind of fixate too much on that. It's more about the reporting of it and the investigation. And there's some absolutely fantastic and stellar performances in the movie. And then the last one that I saw was the Charlie Brown. So it was the Peanuts movie.
Hey.
so the Peanuts movie was just awesome. I'm a big Peanuts fan anyway, and the Peanuts movie was just fantastic. It was really good. It was done by the same studio that does Ice Age, which I think is Blue Sky, and it was done by them, and it was just really nice because it was kind of 3D, but it also had just kind of drawings over the top of the 3D model, so it almost looked cel shaded at parts and things.
Kept the charm of the original.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was really good. It was really like a homage to kind of all of the past Peanut stuff. There was it was almost like a greatest hits. And I was happy when Lucy moved the remote, like took the ball away from Charlie Brown. I was like, right at the end they had that bit. I was like, yes, and it was just such a good bit. I think, as Nicola said, I enjoyed it a lot more than she did, but I was kind of chuckling all the way through it.
Wow, it sounds like you might have needed it. It's sort of a tragedy sandwich. It sounds like, because you stuck Spotlight in the middle of 2 happy things.
Yeah, indeed. But it was just really good. And then we also caught up with Gotham and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We had a real kind of lazy weekend, so it was really cool.
Cool. My favourite bit in Peanuts, I don't remember the girl's character name, but I think, is it Linus that plays the piano?
Yes.
And there's the girl that fancies...
No, Linus is the one with the...
he's the one with the blanket, is he?
He's the one with the blanket, So Shorts is the one with the piano.
Him. I love it how he plays the piano and there's that girl that fancies him and she just sits there annoying him all the time, just telling him, and she keeps sort of like hypothesising of what they're going to do in the future, and he's just sat there just playing his piano. It always makes me laugh, that.
Yeah, that's what's name. That's Charlie Brown's sister.
Oh yeah, she's the blue one.
Yeah. So she's just that's Lucy. Oh God, we're getting like a Peanuts podcast.
Peanuts podcast.
It's the Peanut Cast. But no, it's very cool. It was very, very, very good.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I like that. I've seen a few clips of it, and I do like that style where it's brought into the future but holding on to what its roots.
Yes, absolutely. And they have, like I say, that kind of lends itself to more of a basic style, but then they have Red Baron bits every now and then it does look kind of the same, because the Ice Age movies are quite stunning. They have some really good moments, and you get that when it goes into the Red Baron bits of the movie, which is really cool.
Nice one. Excellent.
So what have you been playing this week?
What have I been playing? I've been playing more Elite Dangerous.
Right.
In VR still. I haven't actually played it out of VR. It seems that would be silly to me. But part of me is tempted to have a go, because I could have a better resolution, put all the graphics settings up. Because really in VR it's just one setting, so I don't know, actually, I haven't seen the full beauty of it that it can do, with a sharper resolution than outside of VR. But yeah, that just sounds... I can... Hearing that come out of my mouth, and in my mind I'm just saying, that's ridiculous, you don't care, because it's really good in VR. So yeah, I've been playing VR. I had to go on when you buy the game, you get an extra sort of facet to the game in there called CQC, which is close quarters combat. So it's kind of an arena mode. You can buy that on its own for like £4.99. And if you do buy it on its own and you like it, you can actually then buy the full game of Elite Dangerous, and they'll knock the price of arena off your purchase of the full game, which is quite nice. So yeah, I thought I hadn't played that, so I thought I'd have a go at some dogfighting in the game, and it's basically you've got deathmatch, all against all, or you've got your team deathmatch and a capture the flag. I just tried the team deathmatch, and it was really cool. It was really, really cool. Because Elite, the main game, is a bit more of a drawn out experience. You know, it's more of an MMO up, massively multiplayer online RPG, MMORPG. Yeah. So it's more sedate, whereas getting into here, it's just bang, in you go, everybody's fighting, two teams, the ships are coloured accordingly to the teams, blue and red, and it's like obviously it's 6 degrees of freedom in space, flying around, getting people in your sights and blasting away with your lasers, and as you get more experience, you level up and you can unlock better ships and better weapons, and it was great fun. Really good. Obviously, I was just a newbie, so I wasn't very good at the fighting, and I also had a rubbish ship. In a way, how about this as a proposal? Newbies get all the best stuff, and as they level up, you get less and less better stuff to make it harder against the newbies. What about reversing it? What about that kind of model? What do you think? Do you think that would work? No, it obviously wouldn't, but it's just a thought.
But there's nothing to strive for, is there? What they should have is like a
pride.
It's pride. They should have pride because you got less cool stuff on your ship.
Pride because with the worst ship in the world, you're the best against everybody else that's better, because that really rubs their nose in it. That's the thing.
What they should have is like a newbie room, where you kind of play with just people that are as quote unquote bad as you.
Yeah, I think bad as you is fair enough, and I think there's some refinements that they need to make in the matchmaking. But I took down a few ships. It was pretty cool. I played a bit of the vanilla game as well. But yeah, I've talked about that already, so I won't dwell on it. Elite Dangerous is very good. Are you still questing to that? To Zeons and
yes.
The old system that I used to hang around in on my Commodore 64. Well, yes. The thing is that is so daunting, and we've got this. I'll mention this later on in the news. Actually, remind me. I'll remember when we get to a certain news item, because there's something about Elite Dangerous that made me think about another game. But yeah, so I've made up this quest, but at the moment it's so many light years away. Like, I don't know how many light years away. Loads, anyway. It's like, it's not the entire star system map, but it's about, I don't know, it's loads anyway, but it's only probably an eighth of the map away. But it's loads compared to me. When you start zooming in and out, you zoom out and you think, it's quite close, and then you start zooming in, it's like further and further away. And my fuel tank doesn't hold much, and I've not got very good weapons. It's like I thought I was getting really good at the game. I was like, I'm taking everybody down really easily, and then all of a sudden I took on a mission that was a little bit higher, and I entered a place, and all of a sudden, like, 3 ships just annihilated me, like within seconds. I was like, not even any time to realise that I was hardly being shot at, and I was like, crikey, that's the big boys. There's work that needs to be done. So I don't know how it's done it, but it seems to have managed in the normal game to have sort of held my hand a little bit and protected me from really bad people. And I think that the human players don't tend to attack, because I've seen a few human players around. You can tell because they always got the prefix of like CMDR, commander, in front of their name. If it hasn't got that, it's an NPC, and they all just seem to carry on with their own business and stuff. So yeah, it's a cool game. It's a cool game. So yeah, I have not made any progress to get into that system, but that's sort of my personal little aim. But I've been too busy trying to make credits by being a bounty hunter. And
right.
It was that really led to my undoing when I sort of tried to bounty hunt in the wrong system, because I knew that there'd be loads of bounties to collect in a system with an anarchy government. So I went to this anarchy system, and basically I flew too close to the sun. Actually, you can literally do that in Elite and you can die, but because your temperature overheats. But I flew too close to the sun in the way that I just thought I was unstoppable, went to an anarchy system and just got made mincemeat out of within seconds. So I need to just, calm down, take it easy and work my way up. But I love it. The trouble is that time just goes so fast in that game.
Really?
Really? Well, it's like any game. It's like, everyone was like, oh no, but proper. I was like, I'd have a go, and then it's like 3 or 4 hours are gone in the blink of an eye. And really, and this is the thing why it's quite divisive. So a lot of people don't like it for this. I mean, I like it because I know what the game's like. But really, I hadn't done that much apart from fly through space. But I just love it. And the VR element, I think, adds an extra dimension. I'm not sure if I would be as gripped out of VR, as in, certainly wouldn't be anywhere near. I don't know if I'd have the same desire to play it. Well, I haven't had the same desire to play it because I would have bought it before I would have got it on Xbox if I wanted it that badly.
Yeah, of course, yeah. It's in the part of the preview program, isn't it?
So obviously VR was the catalyst for me getting it, but my oh my, am I glad that I've got it, because it's sort of, for me, a perfect experience, because it's a cockpit-based experience.
Yeah,
it fits really
absolutely.
well. And it means that if I'm not using VR in the other room, and I've been playing my PC in the lounge where I'm not set up for room scale stuff, I can actually step into VR and have a tinker in Elite, and I don't need to change anything, don't need to go trundling into the other room, so that's really good. So yeah, that's really cool. I've also been playing my birthday games, so Ratchet and Clank.
Excellent. Yeah. Superb. And what did you think?
I like it.
Or what do you think? It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. It's real. Actually, you've said it all, so there's not much for me to say really on top of it. I think you're right. It's a beautiful looking game. It's just so smooth, like double cream sliding off a spoon, with its 60 frames, 60 frames per second. Yeah, it's just really nice, isn't it? And like you say, it's almost that Pixar standard, isn't it? It's really cool.
It really is. I think some of the cutscenes are absolutely just fantastic. They're kind of taken. I think some of them are taken from the movie, because when some of the cutscenes appear, it actually kind of says stops recording. In the top right hand corner. So I think they kind of take some of those away, so you don't kind of push those out and spoil the movie.
Yeah, it detects that, doesn't it? So it can't spoil it. Yeah.
So have you got a favourite weapon yet? Are you kind of switching out between the weapons, or are you just kind of levelling up one?
Well, it's difficult, isn't it? It's like I wanted to keep the original one, the Combuster. I quite like that, and that's the original one. So I thought this might be a bit bland now, but I bet it gets awesome if you keep levelling it up. But it tempts you. It's like in a sweet shop, isn't it, with all these different ones? So I've been switching them up quite a little bit. I just got the one that makes everybody dance.
Like the Groovatron.
The Groovatron, yeah. So you throw out that sphere, and it turns into a disco ball, and everybody starts dancing. Ding, 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 ding. So I've been using that and then switching to another weapon, probably the Combuster, to finish them off. But I quite like his crank, or whatever it is, his melee attack.
Okay.
I run out of ammo quite a lot. And then, so I think being skilled with that is quite important. Another weird thing about the game is it's kind of, I couldn't work out whether I wanted my horizontal axis inverted or not. And not each way. I kept getting confused. And the thing is, I shouldn't have inverted it in the first place, right? So I played the game for a bit. I think the game was set just right. I inverted the y-axis, which is what I always do, okay? And then I thought, it don't feel right. So I inverted the horizontal axis and played it for a while, and like quite a while. And then I was like, I'm not sure if that's actually right, because I think when I was aiming, I kept trying to go the other way.
Right.
So then I changed it back, which I think is actually how I prefer it. But it's confused me so much that I don't know which I prefer. And now I'm confused because I sort of trained myself a little bit the other way. And then when I switched it back, I kept going into that way. I was like, flipping it, just stick with one, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
So I've been spinning it the wrong way, which annoys me. But yeah, I really like it. It's a fine game.
Yeah,
I can sort of.
So, are you using the the digital pad to switch between the weapons? Are you using that?
Yeah. Unless there's a better way. Yeah.
No, I think that's the better way. It's just Nicola got into, because Nicola's kind of a bit of an old school kind of Ratchet and Clank player. She was always, I think she presses triangle and it brings up all of and it kind of pauses the game, and then you select the weapon. And she kind of preferred that because she wanted to see, what level she was at that weapon, and she would use one that was a lower level to kind of, she takes it very seriously.
That's a good tip.
So she would do it that way, but I kind of kept saying to her, why aren't you using the D-pad? Use the D-pad, It was just like, but I found it a lot better that way. I mean, you get to a point where you have about 15 weapons, so, you do have to, you kind of have to select carefully, I guess.
Yeah, I like that idea, though, because while I'm changing weapons on the D-pad, because I'm not that used to them yet, or what the icon is and where they are, I'm looking at the D-pad and I'm getting shot. So if Nicola's Way pauses the game and gives you like a wheel that you can select from, that sounds like I'd quite like that, until I got more comfortable with it.
Indeed, it just stops the game, and then once you take your finger off it just goes straight back in. So it's really, maybe that is a smarter way.
What's the shout when you you click the right stick in and it almost looks like aim mode, but it isn't?
Oh yeah, there is an aim. I think it's an R. Is it R1? Is it aim?
Oh yeah, no, you can aim with one of the triggers like normal.
Yeah.
But if you click the right stick in, it does some sort of weird view.
Oh, okay.
That's like almost an aim, but not quite. I don't really know what that is, so I haven't really used that. But yeah, playing it is really enjoyable and it looks fantastic. But there is something about it that I can feel. You can tell its age. I feel something about the platforming. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Or maybe it feels a little bit slow. But maybe this is because it's only starting me off. Because I'm clomping around, and there's not that much going on. But I've only played it for 2 or 3 hours. I'm just up to sort of the third planet, so I'm not that far into it. But yeah, and maybe I need to increase the speed that you turn around at, because I find I get shot from all directions and it's a bit slow to turn around. But there's all options there to fix that, so that's not an issue.
Absolutely. Have you found skid marks yet?
Yeah, I have, and I've done that bit. I
love that bit. I think that's really cool when you have to take out those sand sharks and stuff. That's a really good way of leveling up your weapons and things like that. And I just find it's absolutely superb. Like I say, there's nothing more satisfying than chucking a bomb into a load of boxes and just seeing those bolts coming at you. It just looks absolutely stunning.
It is stunning.
On the big TVs as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and when he first walks out of that garage that he's in right at the start, and the doors open, and you've got that sunlit vista in front of you. It is indeed beautiful. And yeah, it's funny with the bolts, because they litter the screen like crazy, don't they? It's great, because that's just so awesome when it does that. It looks amazing. And you collect them. And I was playing along, and I'd noticed a weapon that I wanted to get. What was it called? I think it might have been the Groovatron, actually. No, it was the flame one, which I can't... Therma something or other, maybe. Anyway, let's pretend it's the Groovatron, because I know the name of that one. And all of a sudden, so I'm collecting the bolts, shooting my way through everything, enjoying myself, and all of a sudden it went, "You've got enough bolts for this weapon. Come and see me and buy it." And I was like, "Oh, yeah." So I was really... I think I was really tempted, so I thought, right, I'll do that. So I went off, looked at the map, and went all the way back to sort of the level up area, because there's like a computer terminal, isn't there, that you can level up at. And I got to it because I was like, yeah, I really want to do this. And I said to Claire, this is like Dark Souls. It's like I've got enough souls to level up, so I've backtracked all the way to here, and now I'm going to level up, and then I'm going to carry on. I was like, it's like Ratchet Souls. And that's why I think I tweeted when you were asked, you said happy birthday, what did you get? And I was like, yeah, it's like Ratchet and Clank and Dark Souls. Imagine that mashup of like Bolt Souls. And I think it might have been a little bit after that, or maybe it was a bit before, and that's why I thought of it. But I was like, yeah, this is like Dark Souls, because it's actually told me I've hit that peak, and then I'm going to backtrack all the way back and then carry on. And that was really cool. But yeah, I think that would be a good mashup.
Absolutely. If someone could mod Ratchet and Clank into Dark Souls 3, that would just be so good. Yeah, this little cartoon character in a bleak vista would be just absolutely superb.
Or a bleak character in a in a beautiful vista. And like they could keep it all ratchety and clanky, and they could just make it a little bit harder, and then you could have the option to summon other characters in to help you, couldn't you? Other fluffy things. Other fluffy characters, or the Lombaxes, or just people could create their own. Oh, wow, that'd be cool. So, yeah, really liking Ratchet and Clank. It's getting to that, because I haven't had any games for a few weeks, so I was sort of like cold turkey on games. So like, games galore now, hooray! But now I'm like in the situation where I've got like 3 on the go, and and they're all of different kind of genres, really. You've got Elite, which is just going to go on forever, so I don't need to rush that or anything, because that's just it's not completable, really. Ratchet and Clank I've got, which I know I can get through in a reasonable amount of time. It's probably about 10-12 hours, I'm not sure, but shortish game, like Uncharted probably. And then Dark Souls, which is going to take me ages, but not as long as Elite, but longer than Ratchet and Clank. So I've got a game to fit each time length I could want. and probably each mood that I could want there. So it's a good little trio of games. So I'm really happy. But Dark Souls 3 on PC.
Right.
So I had a choice, didn't I? I had a choice. I could get it on Xbox or PS4 or PC. Now I'm pretty sure that every other Souls game I've played has been on PS4. I got some weird feeling that I played Dark Souls 2 on Xbox or Dark Souls 1 on Xbox, but I'm sure I didn't, and I don't know where I got that idea from. Actually, I don't think Dark Souls 1 was on Xbox. I think it was just Dark Souls 2. So anyway, for me, the PS4 has always been the spiritual home of the Souls games, right from Demon's Souls. But after reading how it ran on the different systems from a few different sources, it seemed really the best running version was on PC. So I had to be disloyal to the PS4 and order it on PC. Which felt really weird, and this is really strange, but since getting my PC that I got primarily for Vive, it's just starting to get used more and more for so much other stuff.
Wow, that's really cool. So you're playing it with a 360 joypad, I guess?
Xbox One.
Oh, wait, sorry, yeah, no, I mean Xbox joypad. Yeah, that's just so cool.
Yeah, so it's the best way to play it, you know. If you've got the graphics card that can handle it, or the system that can handle it, it's the best way to play it, because you can get the graphics and you can get the frames per second that you can't get on the consoles. And it's weird because it's sort of alien to me. Even though I was a PC gamer years and years ago, it's coming back to me, and I was starting to think, now I understand these PC people. this is why they harp on about it, because it is a better experience. And it worries a strong word, but it kind of conflicts me, because I'm thinking, well, what am I going to buy on my consoles? Do I need consoles anymore? Do you know what I mean? I'm starting to think, what's the point? The PC seems to be master of everything I want to do. It's like, I'm just thinking about something. I can't think of an example, but I'll think, I wonder if we can do that, or I wonder what this looks like. And it's like, I look on the PC and there's some amazing utility that enables me to do it, and it looks the best on it. And I don't know. And it's like, even if I was going to Twitch stream, a PC enables me to do it and add graphics and stuff. Even though, but this is the thing with PC, everything usually is more faff, and that's the difference, isn't it? PC is more faff, like to add graphics and stuff and Twitch and stream on Twitch on the PC. It's more of a faff than instantly just pressing share button on PS4 or just, So I'm answering my own question there. That's the thing. But yeah, it's like No Man's Sky. It's like I was always going to get that on PS4, but now I think that I would be silly to get it on PS4, and I'll be getting it on PC. And so, because as we've discussed before, I've always got a game on the best system that I own, or the best that it runs at. That's better. That's why most games I used to play on 360, and it was only exclusives that I played on PS3. And now I tend to play everything on PS4 apart from exclusives on Xbox One. And multi-platforms would be on PS4 because they've got a higher frames per second or whatever, or higher resolution. In the last generation, though, the PS3 was technically more powerful. It was a nightmare to develop for, so most games ran better on 360. Hence, I got them on that. And now it's strange, because I've been a console boy for so long. It's a bit of a shift for me, because it just makes sense, because I've got that kit there, that more and more games that are coming out. I mean, we'll see. I mean, Dark Souls is probably the first biggie that's come out since I've had the PC. But yeah, it was the sensible choice to get it on the PC. I can't think of an argument that would have tempted me to get it on PS4.
No, absolutely. And how's it looking? Are you running on ultra mode, or are you close to that? Yeah,
I've got it on maximum, and it looks beautiful. This is strange. I was experimenting between 1080p resolution and 4K, because I was kind of like, let's have it on 4K, and I thought maybe I'll have it on 4K and turn the graphics down or something if it doesn't run. I put it on 4K and it ran well. I don't think it quite hit 60 frames, so it wasn't quite as smooth. But but before I even really got to that, I was just looking at the environment, and I was looking at the floor and the detail in the stonework. And in 1080p, I could sort of pick out detail better than the 4K res.
Oh, interesting.
And it made me think that maybe, and I don't know if this is a thing, I might be completely wrong, it made me think that this game, maybe it's been developed for 1080p, so it looks better in 1080p.
Right, so it's been optimised for 1080p rather than...
I got that impression, because when I went, like, for instance, I mean, it's only, like, it's infinitesimal detail that I'm talking about. For instance, I was looking at a scroll on one of the menu screens. They're sort of... The menu screens are written on, like, scrolls. And the shading on it and the sort of texture, the bump mapping, really, sort of, I could see the dots on the... Like, the pores on the scroll, if you like where just the tiny little creases and cracks on it. And in 1080, it looked really good. When I went to 4K, it shrank that detail because obviously there's more pixels in there, so that I couldn't see that detail because it was. I could see that it was there, but it was so much smaller I couldn't appreciate it.
Right. Okay.
And it was the same so all the bump mapping and stuff just seemed to get so small that I couldn't appreciate the detail. So I went back to 1080p. And to me, it looked better because I could see that detail. And I was thinking maybe, if, like you say, I don't know if it has been, but if it's been optimised and developed for 1080, maybe that's why I can see this detail at this resolution, but not so much in 4K. I mean, it makes sense that it would scale smaller on 4K, but I expected more clarity and be able to see it. Or see more of it, if you know what I mean. But it didn't seem to work. It didn't seem to sort of scale like that. So I'm playing it in 1080 on max. I'm presuming it's 60 frames because it's dead smooth. I don't put a benchmark thing on, so I'm not measuring my frames per second as I play the game. And it's a good job because if I did that, I'd just always be looking at it. And as soon as it dropped, it'd be like, right, quit the game. What's going on? What can we tweak? And I do not want to end up being that person. I want to enjoy the game, and that might be another reason why consoles are better because you don't end up doing that. But yeah,
I was gonna say that to you. Do you find that now when you put something on your PC that maybe you spend the first kind of half an hour just kind of trying to figure out, just playing with the settings, going, is that better? Is this better? Do you kind of find that you have a little meta game where you're just kind of sorting out your resolution first? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I was messing about tinkering with this 4K versus 1080p versus 1440p for ages, trying to find the best resolution for me. And then it was like, I was kind of worrying because I was like, what if it looks best at 4K, but then it's not as smooth? What am I going to do? Which one am I going to pick? It's like even worse than the character creation thing that I don't like. I don't like character creation things anymore. I used to love that sort of freedom and that enabling the player to create his own character. But these days, because I have to do it, I have to go through every single setting. I don't know, because I'm just like that. I want to play the game, but I've got this massive barrier of like eyebrow shape. pupil size, nostril flare size, and it's just like, get me through. But I've got to, because I'm just like that. I've got to go through every setting. I mean, what do you do? Do you just go like, blah blah blah, done? Because I'm getting to the stage where I might just start to do that.
Yeah, I do. I sometimes, depending on the game, I think, sometimes I get Nicola to do it, because she's like you, she likes to kind of look at every single hairstyle, every single eyebrow placement. So sometimes I just say, can you do my character for me? Or I just go with the default one. For Mass Effect, I had the Mao Shepherd, and he was, he just looked like, he looked, and for me, I liked it that way. I just went for like default Shep because that was all of the marketing and all the advertising. That's kind of what was there. So I quite liked having kind of default Shep. But I think with Skyrim, I might have tried to have one that looked a little bit like me, and it just ended up looking really weird, which kind of says a lot. So yeah, so I kind of have a play, but I think most of the time I'm too eager to get into the game. So I try and just go, yeah, that's fine. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it never works out well for me trying to make them look like me. It's just awful. But yeah, I mean, I was so looking forward to Mass Effect, and you're right, that guy you picked, that was Shepard. That's Shepard as he should have been. But I've got this rod for my own back now. It's like I was looking forward to Mass Effect, and any game, pick your game, Oblivion, Skyrim, anything like that, blooming Dark Souls, and it's like, right, get it on, I'm all hyped about it, and then it's like, character creation, and I'm like, I'm kind of like, I used to be more excited, but like the other day, I just want to, time is short, and I want to play the game. But yeah, I could just skip it, but I had to explore every option. Like Nicola, I would like to look at every hairstyle, every eye option, every eyebrow option, every hair colour and all this stuff. And it always ends up looking rubbish anyway. I never get a good character out of it. But yeah, that's like half an hour to an hour. The Dragon Age one was ridiculous. That was so intricate with everything you could do, and it's just like, oh, look at this. Oh, look how you can make the jawbones bigger. And it just takes me ages, but inside I'm going, come on! But it's like the angel and the devil. It's like one's going, come on, get to the game. The other's going, yeah, but you're going to be with this character for so long. It's worth making an effort now. But I want to play the game now. But you're going to be with the character for so long. So anyway, I got past the character.
Have you ever restarted a game because you couldn't get on with the character that you created? Have you ever gone kind of back to the start?
I did in Dragon Age. I did actually.
Really?
I was streaming it at the time just to a mate, and when I finished the character creation, he said it looked too feminine. He said, "What's that, mate? It looks like a girl." And I was a bit gutted because I'd sort of tried to make it look like I'd like to look. And I was just mortally offended, so I had only just started, so I just wiped it and started again and tried to make someone more butch.
Oh, superb. That's so cool.
So yeah, Dark Souls looks amazing. It's really good.
Right.
I haven't got that far into it. It's a lot of people that I've read reports have played it and enjoyed it. They say, oh yeah, it's quite easy at the start. I'm finding it just as difficult as every other Souls game.
Right. Well, that's good then.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say, that's kind of the whole point of it, isn't it? It's a challenging game.
Yeah, or I'm just rubbish, but I still like the games. It is very beautiful. It's medieval sort of castles and bleak landscapes. So well crafted. I can't really comment much on the design yet because I haven't got anywhere. I keep getting my behind handed to me in a lot of battles. There's loads of these really difficult knights to fight, and they're like proper hard. I wasn't expecting that at this stage. But then with Bloodborne, I thought that had a bit of a baptised by fire beginning as well. And they're there for a purpose. It's to teach you the game's systems. So I'm happy with that. But there's something about it. I can't put my finger on it really, but after only like say 5 minutes playing Dark Souls 3, I was like, this is it. This is Dark Souls. I feel at home. I prefer it to Bloodborne.
Oh, really?
And it's weird. I don't know what it is. Like Bloodborne I really enjoyed. Maybe it's because Dark Souls feels like an old friend, but Bloodborne's so similar. I can't put my finger on it, and it just felt home-like. It felt right. And I was just like, oh yeah, this is it. This is Dark Souls. Well, obviously it is. Bloodborne isn't Dark Souls, it's Bloodborne. But yeah, there's just something about it. Maybe it's just having the shield, the more tactical play, rather than the more arcadey, quick-fire play of Bloodborne. I don't know what it is. But I'm sort of... You know how I said I wasn't ready, or a few months ago, I wasn't ready for another Souls game?
Yes.
Well, I was sort of ready, and I got it, because really, there's nothing else I wanted. But just within a few minutes, it's like, oh man, I love this game. I love this game so much.
That's so cool.
As I die and die, but it's just
yes.
like, it's like, oh, and I can feel it that I'm getting into it more and more. And just I was playing it earlier, and I'm like, even now in the back of my mind somewhere, there's a little like room that's thinking, right, okay, so that guy killed me, but what about that other guy? He's quite hard, but maybe if I go around that corner, there might be another path, or maybe there's a path there and stuff like that. So it's got its hooks into me straight away. It's beautiful to play. The combat is great. It's a little bit faster than the other Souls games, so it's taken a little bit of the Bloodborne inspiration out there. It seems a little bit quicker in its combat, which is good. You've really got to be on your toes. I mean, the baddies, the enemies in this game, they don't mess about. They're even like the first enemies you see, they will just take you out within a few hits. It's really bad, so you're just on guard all the time. But yeah, the vistas that I've seen so far, which are all sort of just medieval castle-y kind of areas, look beautiful. I'm stopping and looking at rivers flowing and at skies and clouds going past, and walking up to mountainsides just to look at the rocks, that sort of thing, getting really close to grass and things like that. So it's beautiful. I mean, it's restrained a little bit by the fact that it's still in From's sort of proprietary Dark Souls engine, so it still looks like that. So when I was doing the character creation, when you see the guy's face, for instance, the textures aren't that great, the skin doesn't look that great, but you never see the face really, because it's always covered with armour and things like that. But the metallic effects on the armour and stuff, the swords, it all looks beautiful. The lighting is amazing, and the feel and the feel, the playability there, the control of the character is quite sublime. It really feels good. You've got full control of your character there. It's really polished, and early impressions again, but it really feels like if this is the last game, which it's supposed to be, it's going to be a great send off to the Dark Souls trilogy.
Oh, fantastic! Sounds. I wish I could get into those games. I really do. I wish I should give one a try. I think I should just give a Dark Souls or Bloodborne or something like that a try and just see if I can get on with them.
You can watch your stream anywhere, but do you think if you watched me stream it for a bit, would that help, or does it not?
I don't know, because I think with those games, it is the kind of the playing of them, isn't it? It is that kind of challenging, and just watching someone. I don't know. And that's good, as I've thought that about Bloodborne. I thought about just kind of like watching some Twitch stream or something like that. But I think it would be, I'd have to kind of get hands on. Again, it's kind of what we harp back to. A demo would really be able to give me that kind of yay or nay on those games.
Yeah, I got into them by chance because years ago now, I was reading about this loose cannon of a game that dared to be different called Demon's Souls, and it started to get reported out over here because hype was building, and there was demand building for this game that wasn't available in the West at first. I think it only had a Japanese release. Maybe it got released in the States, but it wasn't coming to Europe anyway. And so
right.
I was seeing more and more of these reviews, reading them, and I got a bit obsessed with this game, and I was like, this game sounds brilliant. It was talking about the way that you summon help and how you can be invaded, if you're online, and just the way it worked. And I sort of got transfixed with Demon's Souls, and I asked for it for Christmas one year. I didn't just buy it. I thought this is something I really want, and I waited till Christmas, and I asked to get it for Christmas, and I explained to whoever got it me. I think it was I either asked my mum and dad or Claire, because it was something special. And I sort of told them how to do it. And so they ordered me an import version of it. I think it was the US version. Some people were playing the Japanese version. They wanted it that badly, which would be really difficult to understand. See, you don't really need to know the story, so you could probably still play it, but still, it'd be even harder than it is. So I got a US version, and I remember starting it on PlayStation 3 and being quite underwhelmed at the start. I just thought, this does look rubbish. It does look rubbish. And I was kind of like, is all the hype about this wrong? Have I made a mistake? And then roll forward like a year, and my parents came to visit, and I was still playing it. And I was like, oh yeah, this is that game you got me, Demon's Souls. Do you remember that? They're like, nah, what are you on about? I was like, well, anyway, you bought me this like a year ago, and it's like, I wasn't sure about it at first, but I absolutely love it, and I'm like playing New Game Plus now, and this is amazing. It's like the best game ever, sort of thing. And that, it was just because I was just reading it was just came up on one article about this different game, and then I got Demon's Souls, took a risk on it, and ever since then, that's it. I followed it along. But I think, in my opinion, some people say, Dark Souls 2 was the weakest one. But for me, obviously entirely subjective, but I love Bloodborne, don't get me wrong, but for me, I like Bloodborne the least. I still like it, but I like the others better. I was liking Bloodborne the least is probably the wrong way of putting it. I've enjoyed the others more, all the Souls games, Demon's Souls, Dark Souls. And even I can tell you, just by playing a few hours of Dark Souls 3, it's like the Souls games are for me. And I like Bloodborne a little bit less. So that's strange, and I couldn't tell you why. That's really strange, isn't it? It's like you kind of get some pure Dark Souls, and then that kind of imitator Bloodborne just kind of fails in comparison. Yeah, it's odd. It's odd because I want to because Bloodborne's sort of more quick fire. It doesn't have the shield, and it's got quite a good dynamic where you've got to like surge in and plow in with your sword and get hits to get your energy back when you get hit. I sort of want to like that because it's as if they evolved the system. So it's as if that's the evolution of it, the true evolution of it. But maybe I do enjoy it, as I say, but it's strange. I just prefer Dark Souls, it seems. I love it. Maybe in the next Bloodborne, maybe that'll change it, because I think they say they're not making any more Souls games. So all we'll have, if they venture forward, will be another Bloodborne game, but I think they should leave it for a while. But I'm a bit worried that at E3 they're gonna unveil some kind of new Bloodborne, and I think it's way too early, but that's just me. Anyway, sorry about I waffle on for ages then. What have you been playing? Sorry about that.
that was really interesting. It was really cool. I've been playing similar to kind of last week. Actually, I've been playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles still, so I'm still playing that. I've done a couple more of the levels, and and despite everyone else kind of really hating on it, I'm still enjoying it. I'm still actually having a bit of a blast, a bit of a good time. I got a bit frustrated in one stage, so I kind of dropped it for a while and went and played something else, which I then got absolutely addicted to. But no, I'm still playing, like I say, Turtles, and still kind of just having a bit of a laugh with it. Really, it's like I say, I think it's kind of echo what I said last week, where it's not as polished as Transformers, but it's still a fun game, and obviously there's a bit of a love for Turtles in there as well. But it's really good. It's not the best game I've ever played, but enjoying it. So,
if you're a fan,
and that's all I'll say. That's how I can kind of politely say, yeah, it's all right. But I do like it.
I think that's the closest I've ever heard you to say something's not great.
I was close. I was
nearly did it.
Nearly. But then, so kind of like I say, Turtles frustrated me for a little bit. So I went over to Doom. So I had a bit of I'm still playing Doom, and do you know what? I am absolutely in love with Doom. Doom is just absolutely fantastic. I've now gone to hell. I've now gone to hell. So I was on Mars before, and then halfway through the game, you kind of then go down to hell, and I think I sent you a screenshot of it, because the moment I did that, I just stopped and went, wow. I just stopped and I just was just looking at it, and it was really funny because Nicola kind of went off to the kitchen, and which is next to the movie room, and then came back into the movie room, and she was like, "Are you still looking at that screen? You haven't moved." And I'm like, "Look at this! It's just incredible." This first bit where you just kind of get teleported to hell was just absolutely superb, and I just sat there and I was just like, this is just amazing. How can we get better than this? Says a fool. But I was just like, it just looks absolutely stunning. And the thing that I'm loving about Doom is not only is it still giving me new weapons, even kind of like maybe 2/3 of the way into the game, it's still giving me new weapons. It's still giving me new enemies to attack. And what happens with Doom, there was actually one bit where I had to kind of replay it again and again because I kept dying, but there was this little kind of enclosed arena, so the door behind you shut, the door where you had to get to, you couldn't get there until you cleared out this area, and there were so many different varied enemies that you had to try and take out. It was just incredible. So it was a bit like Ratchet and Clank, really. I got to kind of use all of my weapons, because you really do. It's like these big guys, they're better if you take a rocket launcher at them. There's this witch, which is better if you take this laser at them. And it was just, and I really, because I had to play, I died about 5 times in this section, and I just had to kind of, I kept thinking, okay, right, I'm going to do it. And it was almost like I was kind of getting into this rhythm where right at the start there's some guys, I could take them out with my chainsaw, get loads of bullets, because they kind of open up like a pinata, so you can just like get loads of bullets that way. And then, and I was like, all right, I'm going to save that health, and I'm going to save, and it was just, I really got into the rhythm of this area. And when I actually completed it, when I got rid of all of the enemies there, I was really happy with myself. I was really chuffed. So, and it's just absolutely superb. There still is that rhythm action game where you have to shoot them once, they start to flash, you go in, you melee, that's how you get health. And you do find yourself that when you are starting to go get low in health, that's what you've got to do. You've got to try and find those weaker ones now and kind of jump in and just kind of, elbow them and get the health that way. Or if someone's flashing because you've got them to that point, you do need to try and maybe risk it and run into the middle and take them out, because that's when you're going to get even more health points. And it's just, I am absolutely loving this game. It's really taken me by surprise. I thought I was just going to get it, play the campaign, and then be done with it, but I'm just really enjoying it.
There's a lot of love for Doom. I think I want it. It sounds really cool. The music's might be top as well. It's really sort of it really fits the game. It really,
yeah. I haven't even touched the multiplayer side of it yet. There's a multiplayer side of it. Obviously, I'm just doing the campaign, and then there was also a build your own and play other people's levels as well. There's actually a level creation in this game as well. So, and someone's done one a bit cartoony, a bit like Mario. Everyone always does, Mario World 1, Level 1. And someone's done that, so you can play that in Doom. And there's some things like that. I was just looking. I didn't even know. I knew there was an extra option in the main menu, but I'm just so eager to get into the game. The load times sometimes are a bit long when you die. You kind of just takes a while to load in, but once it's there, it's just gorgeous. So I'm happy with those load times. But I did find myself that when I was dying repeatedly in that arena that I was just talking about, I did find myself that I had to do my kind of thing that I do when the music and the grunts and all of the sound effects are kind of getting a little bit too much. I stick a podcast on. So I stick a podcast on, just sit there, listen to that whilst playing, and it just kind of helps me not get overwhelmed by this thing that's beating me. And I just did that a couple of times. But I was quite happy to get back into the sounds of Doom, because even though it's quite grim, but it's just absolutely superb. It's just I really enjoy it. It's a fantastic.
Is it sort of death metal all the way through it, like?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you get that, and the rockets and the wow, and the punching and the squelching and the ripping of things, and it's just like oh, I just love this.
Wow.
And all the time you're right. All the time it's like you're like, oh, this game is just so.
It just sounds like good. So, clean's probably the wrong word. good grisly fun.
Yes, it's just like I say, the kind of chainsawing, and the great thing is, I think the more you level up, the more kind of petrol you put in your chainsaw, the bigger characters. Because sometimes I went up to a big character and tried to chainsaw him, and it wasn't having none of it. It just couldn't do it at all. But the more I'm leveling up, and then I can now take out a bigger guy with a chainsaw. So there's just real progression throughout the entire game. I'm still, I'm leveling up my health, I'm leveling up my ammo, each of the guns. You add extra bits to your guns, and it's just really cool. And you can cycle through these additions to your guns. So my shotgun does this like triple blast if I want, or my machine gun does the amazing piece of animation when you hold down the left trigger or the left trigger on your gun. It just, this little side bit pops out, and then it just loads up 3 missiles. So it just kind of goes like that. I kept like taking my finger off and reloading it or again and again, because the sound effect was just absolutely superb. So yeah, so I'm playing Doom, but I'm just absolutely loving it. It's just absolutely fantastic game.
Brilliant. Do you think you'll go on to multiplayer? Have you completed the campaign yet?
No, I haven't completed the campaign yet. I'm kind of close by the feel of it, and by the way it's ramping up. When I left it last night, it's getting there.
So do you think there's room for longevity after that for you?
I don't think so. Not for me. I don't. I mean, I will have a play of the multiplayer, but based on my efforts from the beta, I know I'll just get it handed to me if I win.
Yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? You need the newbie room for me and you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there you go. So I just need that kind of let's just have some fun room rather than the kind of people running around with shotguns.
How does the leveling up work? Does it? Do you just like get experience and then spend it on certain weapons and follow sort of a tree or something?
Absolutely. You get tokens. There's 2 lots of tokens. You can find them by finding kind of downed guys, and you pull them out, and then you can just as you're going through the game, it just says you've earned another token, and then you can go to your menu, choose your weapon, and then you'll have all of the stuff that you need to that you can buy. And then so you get to your shotgun, and it's like this is 5 points, and you can just choose that one. And then if you have multiple upgrades equipped on, like my shotgun, which is like the default gun, you have the shotgun. Then you can like I say, you can cycle through them as well using the D-pad.
Wow, sounds cool. Sounds like a good game.
It really is. I'll tell you what was really funny, because you've got this like very kind of almost future tech shotgun, which is just absolutely gorgeous, plays really well. And I did, when I started the game, I was like, I hope this isn't the default weapon, because this is going to get boring quite quickly. But I love my shotgun. It's my go-to gun now. But halfway through the game, just before I went to hell, they actually gave you a wooden sawn-off shotgun. So, which I think is kind of a kickback to the old Doom. So you have this like wooden sawn-off shotgun if you want, and that just is it's just gorgeous to play with.
Have you been? I believe there's loads of secret areas and stuff in the game. Have you been in any of those yet?
I have. I found a couple. There's actually a mod that for my equipment that I can do. That when I'm buying that, and that's what I'm saving up for, it shows them on the map. Because I've seen an area that I would love to, and it kind of, you go into this area and it's like old style Doom, but you're running around it, and then you go down this long corridor, and as you go down to the long corridor, it then just goes back into your normal gameplay. And I can't wait to experience that, just kind of go from like old style graphics then into this gorgeousness that is Doom.
Walk through an evolution of Doom. That's cool.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm really looking forward to kind of doing that. So that's the next mod that I've got my eye on.
Oh wow, excellent. Yeah, it sounds good. I'm tempted with that. And like you say, it's a bit of a sleeper hit. I don't know why they didn't let the code out early for reviews. It looks like they had a good game on their hands. I don't know why they embargoed it till release. It gave the wrong signal.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I know that is kind of synonymous for kind of, if you don't get out before release, we normally think that it's a bad game. But I think their excuse was that they wanted everyone to experience it at the same time, and if that's the way that they feel, I mean, I think, and then it's over to the influencers, it's over to the Twitch streamers to show people how it's playing rather than a review.
Yeah, I just hope it doesn't affect sales, because it's just like they could have built that hype machine for a couple of weeks beforehand. But as you say, times have changed, haven't they? It's not so necessary these days.
No, absolutely. I'm finding the likes of, IGN and things like that. I'm finding, I've said time and time on this podcast, I don't read reviews. I like to hear opinion pieces. I like to maybe I'll read what someone says about a game, but I won't worry about that all important score at the bottom. But I'm more for having a look at a preview, and I'm the same with Empire magazine. I'll read Empire magazine from front to 3/4 of the way in, and then for the reviews I just I'm not really interested, because it is just so subjective. So I think other sites like things like Kotaku or us, where we're talking about games, and Kotaku with their long form articles, I think that's kind of where they should be changing. And I think waiting for reviews, I think in my opinion, is a bit of a dying breed.
Yeah, I mean, Kotaku is one of the first places that I was startled to notice that they didn't give a rating for a game. I think it was one of the first outlets to do that, because they just had a "should you play this game?" and it was just yes or no. I mean, that might have changed now, because I haven't read a review on Kotaku for ages. But this was literally years ago, and it was just like, yeah, there's. I was like, what? No score out of 10? This is insanity.
This is, what are you talking about? How can I base my life on it if you don't give me a score? It's like Eurogamer, the Eurogamer site. They don't do it. They just do a Eurogamer recommends, and they have a much better article, because they're not gearing up for and this is a 7.5 at the end of it. So, and and I do think people just get themselves in a knot when, IGN, whenever I listen to an IGN podcast, they always say if they gave something like an 8.5 or a 7.5, they get so much negativity fires at them because people are invested in this game. It's like someone giving Viva Pinata 3 a 7.5. I'd start raging because it's obviously a 10, but that's my subjective. That's my opinion. But people just go absolutely crazy on this. So I just think we kind of get ourselves in a little bit of a pickle.
Yeah, it's not definitive when a news outlet or a gaming media outlet gives a score to a game. It's like not as if it's like, yeah, Uncharted gets an 8 and all of a sudden mountains start to crumble.
It's almost like people want to validate their purchase, don't they? They want to, they bought this game, they bought Uncharted, they want to go to their favourite site, which is IGN or wherever, and then they want to see a 10 because they want to know that this thing that they've just invested their hard-earned money on, everyone else loves. So when you give it 8.5 or an 8, and then there's a certain person out there that would then start raging about that. But for my, I prefer just to put it on and experience it for myself. It goes to show I'm playing TMNT, which is bulking against the grain. If you looked at scores, I'm sure the Metacritic for TMNT is very low. But I'm having fun.
I'm not sure if it's a double-edged sword. I think maybe the outlets liked it at first because it can create a divisive audience all arguing in the comments, which generates hits, etc., and gets traffic in. And I think maybe at first there might have been a bit of sort of like an idea of that's good. let's get them riled up because the discussion's happening on our site and it's making our site more popular. But as the years have gone by, it's become so poisonous and toxic that anybody that's sane just sort of wants to back away from that. And it started to give gamers a bad name, and nobody wants that. So, yeah, I think what may have been at first looked at as a good way to sort of elicit discussion, and if it got a bit heated, that was fine because it's like, yeah, well, it's all on our website. It shows that we're getting the debate. I think it just exploded because people got stupidly too passionate. Like you say, it's like, oh, you've given it an 8.8 and it should be a 9.4. It should be a 10. It's like, get over it. If you enjoy the game, go off and enjoy it.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got a news article a bit later on where we talk about kind of how, a negative side of this fantastic hobby that we have, and it's a hobby that is just for fun. It's a fun hobby to have. Yeah, it kind of went a little bit sour this week. We'll get to that. So, and it's really interesting how people can get angry over something that is just fun. It is a fun hobby.
It's only a game.
Dude, you sound like my dad. Superb. So let's get started on the news section. And in this week's news section, Minecraft is adding new modes. Another delay hits 2016, and we have the PS Plus games for June. But Darren, the first piece of news is with you.
So yeah, it is contrary to my wavering beliefs. It looks like The Last Guardian is going to come out in 2016. Which is amazing. And so, Edge magazine, in its issue 294, have done an early impressions exclusive on the game Last Guardian, which confirmed that it's going to come out this year. They chatted with the main guy, Mr. Fumito Ueda, who was the designer for the other games in the kind of trilogy, if you like. Well, let's just get this straight. Is it Ico or Ico?
I say Ico.
Do you? I sort of have always said Ico, but
but that's fine because you say tofu as well. So
I don't say tofu. do you say tofu?
I say tofu. Yeah.
So
you say tomato. They got.
I've heard. That's all right. You threw me there. I've heard lots of people say Ico. I think maybe I'm going to just have to say Ico if that's right. I don't know. I don't know what the game designer wants it to be called. I was going to say Ico anyway. I'm going to join you.
You can say whatever you want. It's like when people kind of pull me up for saying Yoshi wrong. It's just like, it's Yoshi, and it's like, and people are like, no, it's Yoshi. And I'm like, no, it's Yoshi, and it's just like, or Porsche, the things like that.
Yeah,
so,
or Linux
you can say
and Linux.
Yes, you can say it any way you want, sir.
Yeah, except Linux is supposed to be Linux. Because I looked it up because I got annoyed about it, but I really don't know. I've never looked up Ico. So I may change Ico and Ico. I might change as I speak. But anyway, so this guy, Fumito Ueda, he made Ico and he made Shadow of the Colossus. And the third game in this fantastic trilogy that we're going to get hit with is The Last Guardian that we've been looking forward to since 2009. I think it was revealed at E3.
Wow.
And it's been in development since 2007. And we've all been waiting. Well, I've been waiting with bated breath ever since we saw the trailer. I remember it was one of our early conversations about games. Maybe not an early conversation, but it was certainly something that we were both like, look at this. It's amazing.
No, absolutely.
And we've talked about this before. So anyway, Edge has done a preview and chatted with him and confirmed it's going to be out, which is great news. So he said, since this is the year we will see the game's release, I do have some worries, but I'm also very excited. So that's interesting. I think his worries seem to be based around whether people will like the character of the big creature, sort of cat weagle thing. And this is another interesting thing. The creature's got a name, and it's going to be called Trico. That's its name. And interestingly, when I was reading all about a third or a sequel to the Shadow of the Colossus that everybody was clamouring for after Shadow of the Colossus, and probably a little bit before Last Guardian, and certainly during the reveal of Last Guardian. Actually, no, it was before Last Guardian had been announced. The name everybody used for the third game was Trico, because it was sort of like, the third one, so like a triple, so like Tr and Ico together, Trico. So a lot of people referred to the third game that Ueda was going to make as Trico. That was just the name that people used in absence of an actual game being there. And I just thought it was really interesting and quite nice that this is a nod. I'm presuming that this is a nod to that fan base, that the creature's name is actually Trico within the game Last Guardian. I think that's really cool. So we've had that revealed, that the creature's name's Trico. There's a mechanic that's being used within the game where the boy that you are, that again he's sort of dressed in that garb that's very similar to the Shadow of the Colossus and the Ico sort of outfit, sort of that fashion. He uses a mirrored shield, and if you can sort of use a button to shine that on, or to project a ray of light onto any surface that you aim at, and when you aim at stuff, this signifies that that's a point of interest for maybe Trico to interact with. And Trico can then, it seems all placid, but she, not sure, can fire a beam of lightning from its tail. And it'll direct that power wherever you've targeted with the mirrored shield. So it sounds like that's going to be a dynamic that's very much something that you use a lot in the game. So that sounds pretty cool. They sort of hypothesised that it's probably going to be a lot of environmental-based puzzles using that. In the demo that Edge was shown, there was a puzzle where you had to use that mechanic to destroy a rock face to progress through the game. I think that sounds pretty good. Now, Ueda says, let's have a look. Edge says that Trico, and this is what they say about the main cell really with the game, the animal. They say it's one of the most striking video game presences in recent years. So that's great. That makes me think, yay, wow, that's what we wanted. Yeah. You see, I reckon it absolutely was that in 2007. I mean, my jaw hit the floor, man. I just rewatched that trailer many times. But it's also say it may be divisive. In the same way that Ico's Yorda, the girl in Ico, was divisive. And they say that she irritated as many players as she charmed, because she didn't always come when you asked and stuff like that. Ueda says that the creature is a free-spirited creature that flagrantly disregards your attempts to tame it, which means it won't always do as it's told. Yeah. Now, that's a great excuse, isn't it, for not, for, I don't know, not making it do what you want. But I'm sure that they could program that in if you want. It just makes me think of my Aibo. I bought a Sony Aibo years ago. I don't know if you remember the Sony robot dog that came out. Right,
yes, I remember. Yeah,
it was like loads of money. I got all wrapped up in getting one. And anyway, I got one. And they say it's amazing. You can tell it what to do. But Aibo it's very similar to this, that it's a free-spirited creature and it'll do what it wants. And so I'm sat there saying, Aibo, dance. And it just does nothing. Aibo, play with your ball, does nothing. And it's like that little bit of subtext that basically means the voice recognition doesn't work. and Aibo will do exactly what it wants. But the thing is, this is a bit different because I think to program in for it to do exactly what you wanted it to do, it's very easy, isn't it? So he said basically he's a bit sick and tired of animals or creatures in games always doing just exactly what you want. And he felt that it'd add more, I think, more realism, or just be a bit different to have something that didn't always do as you asked. And hopefully he's hoping that that'll add some realism there. And maybe that's what he was doing with Yorda in Ico as well. So yeah, and it seems that the creature as well, its eyes will change colour depending what mood it's in. So you can look in the eyes and get an idea of the mood the creature's in. Pink is wariness and anger, he said, for example. So yeah, there's loads of articles online about the Edge article. But what you can do if you wanna get the scoop, it's issue number 294 of Edge magazine, and there's a beautiful picture on the cover. And yeah, they go into it there, and it sounds pretty optimistic. My worry is, as I was just sort of alluding to, really, what dropped our jaws in 2007, will it drop our jaws now, looking at the games that we've had in the past few years and on this generation? And would the starting development on a PS3 hold it back when it comes out on PS4? Or maybe was it always destined for PS4 right from the off?
Yes, yeah, they just kind of overshot the PS3 by a couple of years, and then they were just aiming for a bit more, a better piece of hardware.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if at E3 they'll go, this could be one of them things, it's been 10 years in development, and they say, yeah, Last Guardian, show a trailer, and they say, and that's available now.
Absolutely, digital on the PlayStation Store right now.
You know what? If they said digital now, I don't really get digital games, but if they said digital now, physical copy in 2 weeks' time, after their conference, I just know I'd be so hyped up. I'd be like, get me that pad, get me to that store, and I'd be downloading it, not looking at any reviews. I think I'd just get it because I've wanted it for so long. I just hope that it holds up to my belief and that it's going to be good. But the thing is, I haven't played Ico as much as Shadow of the Colossus, but I love those games. So I've got faith in the designer. I've got faith in, hopefully, what he said about they delayed it, they wanted to get it right and all this stuff. And it's been a long time coming, but hopefully it's going to be good. I'm a bit scared, though, that it's just going to look washed out and compared to other things like The Witcher and Star Wars Battlefront, things that have really hit us in the face with their aesthetics, that maybe we'll be disappointed, and I really don't want to be, but I'm just scared that there's that chance that's there because it's been too long, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it has been a long time coming, but maybe the reason why they have taken extra time is because they are kind of giving that new kind of that new polish, that next gen polish for it.
Hopefully,
because it looked quite good in the E3 trailer last year. It looked okay, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But I think it did look a bit PS3-y.
Oh, right.
But then that's sort of, they shot themselves in the foot there because it looked so ahead of its time when they revealed it. It looks like it couldn't be done on a PS3 to me. And I think that's actually part of the reason that it got delayed, because I think Ueda is a perfectionist, and it was coming to light that the technical restrictions of the system were holding it back. So maybe the PS4 is its natural home. But unfortunately, maybe what we saw in 2007 sort of, because, remember, that was just, they've got all the resources just for that little snippet. That's not a whole game, is it? That's just a little slice. So they've got all of the PS3 just to make that 2 minutes. So maybe that's what we saw then is the best that can be done on a PS4. I don't know. But it doesn't, it could still be a good game anyway if the creature responds and is cute and stuff, and, hopefully survives and all the rest of it. I suppose it'll have to have a near miss near the end. It'll have to sort of fall down the mountain, and you're going, oh no, Trico, and then you just one claw sort of is held on, and it flies up or whatever if it's got wings, and it goes da-da-da, and it's alive, and then I'll be just like, classic. They put that bit in and I'm sold. That's why I've got to play the game, just for that bit. Even though I sort of know it, they've got to do it. They've got to do it. He's got to nearly die, but not die. But they've got to convince me he's dead before telling me that he's not.
That's dark, but no, I reckon I am convinced that it will be that kind of, this is available later today, and that's what you're going to get, and it will be a digital release, because I don't see how publicity, the people that are interested in that game are watching that keynote. So there's your audience already captivated, and like you and like myself, if they say it's out now, you're going to be caught up in that PlayStation hype. You won't be, you'll be fast asleep. But you'll be caught up in that PlayStation hype. You'll just go boom, you'll go straight to the store after the keynote, and you just download it. So I think they could benefit from releasing that at either E3, Tokyo Game Show, or the PlayStation, the PSX. I think they could really appreciate and get their return on investment by doing it that way. I don't think a disc-based version, maybe it'll come out later. I think you might have hit the nail on the head there, where you said it might come out in a couple of weeks later, because not everyone's digital, or not everyone has the ability to do that. But I think to get real bang for this title, I think they need to do it at the E3 press conference.
Yeah, and like you say, you're exactly right there. Everyone's enraptured. I mean, last year and every year I get so excited during the conferences. Yeah, if they, I'm just sort of putty in their hands, really. It's like this, whatever they're saying, I'm like, when the press are all cheering as well, I know it's silly, but I'm just like, yeah, woo!
I know, but you are. I mean, yeah, absolutely. There are some moments in E3, and this is why I watch it every year. This is why I'm up at 2:00 in the morning. There are some moments that are just pure joy, and when you look at Twitter and Twitter's exploding and you're getting messages and people are saying, have you seen this? There is just something to be had at that. And if at the same time they're like, and you can download this game now, I'd be there, I'd fall asleep while it was downloading, but I'd be, there, ready for in the morning.
Wow. Imagine, it'd be easy to do. They can just have a link pop up as you're watching the conference and it's sort of tied into your PayPal account and your PlayStation account or your Microsoft account, depending on what conference you're watching. And as stuff comes up that's sort of pretty imminent, let's not talk about the ones that are years away, but it just pops up and it says, add to basket, and you just go through a shed load of money during that conference.
I mean, well, that kind of almost happens now on the Xbox. Major Nelson does a This Week on Xbox show, and while he's talking about whatever, there is an option at the bottom to either watch more videos or buy that title right now.
Oh, I love it.
So you can just, and then you go back, and then it just continues from where it left off. But I think you're right. If there was a thing where you could just like I say, kind of add them all to say, yep, I want this. There's just then you can then because I used to do that after E3. After E3, I used to go to Amazon and just go through all the games that I want, and then just kind of pre-order them all right there and then. And they used to scare me when it kind of totaled your basket up with all the games that you wanted, but then you had to realise it was kind of spanned over years sometimes for those games to come out. But
I remember having Last Guardian on pre-order years ago. But yeah, you're right. Thank goodness they don't take the money straight away. Otherwise, it's like a few £1,000s.
I hope they cancelled that for you. I hope they haven't still got that on pre-order.
I cancelled it myself in a strop. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Oh, this is never coming out. I'm going to cancel it.
That was it. It was like something happened. I was like, that's it. And went on to wherever it was and cancelled my pre-order. And I was like, humph.
Superb. Excellent stuff. Well, next piece of news for me is kind of tied into that. It's a bit about delays. As we were saying earlier when I was just kind of going through what's coming up, we have another delay for 2016. But again, I think as you have said, Darren, kind of time and time again, if it makes the game better, then we're okay with it. And definitely in the case of No Man's Sky, I'm okay with, waiting a couple of months for No Man's Sky. So No Man's Sky, Sean Murray put a post on the PlayStation blog to say that No Man's Sky is now coming to PS4 in August. So he put a post up on the PlayStation blog, and I just kind of go through that post because I thought it was just a really nice kind of heartfelt post where it said, hello, Sean Murray from Hello Games here, working extremely hard on our game, No Man's Sky. It's really coming together, and it's such an incredible relief as we sit and play it and watch play testers every day. I can finally let myself get excited. We're actually doing this. However, as we approach our final deadlines, we realise that some key moments needed extra polish to bring them up to standard, and I've had to make a tough choice to delay the game for a few weeks to allow us to deliver something special. So after a short delay, No Man's Sky will launch in North America on August 9th, in Europe on August 10th, and in the UK in August 12th. Now, there's a little bit more to the post. I'll put a link in the show notes for you to read, but it's just a real kind of heartfelt. You can see that they're kind of looking at it. There's only a team of about 15 to 20 people. They're working on this game, and it's been building and building, and I think they really want this. And you can tell when Sean Murray showed it off years ago, or a couple of years ago, or when he's been doing press conferences and talks, he's absolutely just in awe of this game that he's created, and he wants it to be the best it can be. So, giving these guys a few weeks is okay with me. There's actually quite a few games that are coming out when No Man's Sky was coming out anyway, so I'm happy for it to move to August. I'm happy so I can give it the time. So it's, like I say, it's coming to North America on August 9th, Europe August 10th, and then the UK on August the 12th. So it's, I'm happy with this, and I think, Darren, you're probably the same as well, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. And the thing is, I've been looking forward, me and you, I think, no one's looking forward to it more than us. We've been talking about No Man's Sky since the podcast started, and we're both completely sold on it. But yeah, I got the news about the delay. And absolutely, the old mantra, it's better delayed and polished than early and disappointing, with patches going on and stuff and people complaining. It's just let it be finished. Let it be finished. And I'm sort of lucky because of Elite. This is the game I was talking about before. No Man's Sky is the game that I was thinking about when I was playing Elite, and when I saw the delay, I was kind of like, my wanderlust, my aimless flying around space has been somewhat sort of satiated because of Elite. So I'm alright about it. It's like, yeah, take as long as you want. I can fly to planets in Elite Dangerous, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm still getting No Man's Sky, don't get me wrong, but it sort of helped me to get some of that out of me, because I've made up my own No Man's Sky with what we were talking about before. You asked me about getting to that old system. So I've sort of just imagined that system that I want to get to is the centre of the galaxy or the centre of the universe. And my little quest in Elite is kind of my little replica, my little made up No Man's Sky. So I've made my Elite Dangerous into No Man's Sky to tide me over until No Man's Sky comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's, and it's good, like I say, this was obviously a hard thing for them to decide. It was great that Sean kind of went up onto the blog and, put this post up. And, just, as he said, he said it's a tough choice to delay the game. However, as I was alluding to earlier, the gaming community, the ugly face of the gaming community kind of reared its head this week, because not only Sean Murray, but also Jason Schreier from Kotaku, who kind of broke he broke a story just before, I think this came out on, I think it was Friday or Saturday, when Sean Murray went to the PlayStation blog. But before that, Jason Schreier from Kotaku had said No Man's Sky is being delayed, it's coming out in August, and both Jason Schreier and also Sean Murray have been receiving death threats from the gaming community. Again, it's kind of what we were talking about, how some people are the ugly face, and I'm just absolutely shocked. So both on Twitter and in the comments, if you read some of the comments after this post, some of them are, don't worry, take your time, I'm looking forward to it, but some of them are just absolutely just vile. And so Sean Murray actually went to Twitter and he said, I've received lots of death threats this week, but don't worry, Hello Games now looks like the house from Home Alone. So he's totally protecting the Hello Games studio here in Surrey. But I just feel so sorry for him, because obviously they're like, we're doing this for everyone because we want to make this a perfect experience. But yeah, there's this small, horrible side of the gaming community, this kind of entitled babies that are just kind of like throwing their toys out the pram and giving death threats to people.
Yeah, and the strange sort of kind of paradox, if you like, is that like the reason he's getting the death threats from the people is because they want the game that much. They're so excited about the game. They want the game that much.
Yeah,
and he's trying to make it better for them. He's coming clean and upfront about it, and they throw death threats his way because, oh dear, my life's over because No Man's Sky's not coming out for another fortnight or another month or whatever. It's ridiculous. It's like, the reason that they're getting riled is because they're expecting a game that they're going to love.
Yes.
It's just so wrong, isn't it? And the death threat thing is just so glib, these death threats these days. They get thrown around like confetti.
They really do. They really do. The fact that someone would spew that much of vile against someone, like I say, for bringing a form of entertainment, and something, as you say, something they're passionate about, but they just don't know how to maybe express themselves, so they just do it in anger, and in caps, rather than, like, don't worry, or say nothing, don't say anything. But, like I say, on the PlayStation blog, there are some horrible bits in there. I read a couple of pages. There's some horrible bits in there. But the great thing is the positivity outweighs that negativity, and I just think that kind of gave me hope, that gave me hope that we're not all bad, and that Sean Murray just doesn't see that, that he sees all of the good stuff as well. Because I would hate it if he just thought that there was, he can't say anything ever about a game because this is what happens to him.
Yeah, I mean, the toxicity is born of passion. That's the only positive I can probably get, but there's no excuse. There's no excuse for that kind of action.
I'll just play Lego Star Wars instead, and that's it. It's a game. It's coming out. I'd rather, like you say, I'd rather have No Man's Sky, rather give them their extra kind of couple of weeks. They're probably crunching at the moment. They're probably working 14, 16-hour days. They're not just kind of sitting on their back and enjoying the sun. They're probably working so crazy to get this out, and that's absolutely fine. Star Wars is Lego Star Wars. I'll play that instead. There's a ton of stuff that I can just enjoy. but when it comes out, I'm going to absolutely love it.
Yeah. It's a small studio, as you've already said. These guys have never worked on a project this big, as far as I know.
No, they did Joe Danger before this, didn't they?
They've gone from Joe Danger to this. And there's no excuse for that behaviour. And I'm just hoping that people get bored of it. But I think that, you see, this is the thing. I think people throw these death threats around and these really awful comments around without really thinking of the effects it will have. But if somebody has these kind of comments directed to them and they read it, unless they're very thick-skinned or very used to it, which I'm not sure that the guys at Hello Games will be, as this is their sort of first foray into a game that has lit up the minds of the gaming community since its reveal, it's going to hurt. And it's not right. You're hurting the guys, the creators that are, like you say, working really hard to give the gamer a great experience, something that they want. They're working to supply a demand, and that's the repayment, admittedly, by a small minority, but it's the vocal minority, and that's what hits the headlines. That's what makes the mainstream media, gives them ammunition to belittle and make gamers and gaming sound like it's a community that people should keep away from, and it's not right.
Absolutely. From an outsider looking into this, as I've said already on this pod, this fantastic hobby of ours, from an outsider looking in, they're like, wow, there's a lot of angry people. There's people are angry if you play games. But I guess it's just like football or any sport or anything like that. When your team's not doing well, anger ensues where it should actually just be, I guess I have a real problem with that, because I'm more in the camp where if I like something, I will happily tweet or send them an email or praise them for the stuff. And I think it's harder for people to actually to do that than it is to. It's just so easy for you to just kind of go onto Twitter and just say something horrible and nasty.
Yeah.
But next piece now, let's get away from this. So. Apologies from the gaming community. No Man's Sky.
On behalf
Hello Games. Yeah, on behalf of them, we're sorry, but there's most of us, we're really good and we're really nice, so we can't wait for No Man's Sky. So Darren, next piece of news, sir, is with you.
Yeah, we'll draw a line under that. So the next piece of news, you can't get nicer than Minecraft, can you?
It's your happy place.
It is. Blue skies, sunshine rising. Oh, but monsters come out at night. But anyway, Minecraft, it's getting a PvP battle mode.
Interesting.
Wow, can you believe it? Yeah, competitive multiplayer on Minecraft. So, I don't know, I bet Notch is turning... I was going to say turning in his grave, but he's not dead.
He's turning in that gorgeous mansion that he's got with
he's probably got a special thing.
Scrooge McDuck money room.
Yeah, he's got a special thing in that money room to turn him when he gets annoyed. He presses something and the massage thing turns him round a little bit faster, but then slows down and continues to massage him in his luxury lifestyle. So yeah, it's getting a battle mode. So on Xbox Wire, they've reported that Battle will allow you to set up a competitive multiplayer fight for survival within Minecraft, where you're going to use speed, strategy, and sometimes luck to be the winner. Players in battle matches, you're going to use randomly generated resources found in chests that are going to be placed in specially designed PvP maps and fight each other in a free-for-all deathmatch until the final victor is determined. And if you die, you can spectate the rest of the match. So it's going to be 4 players in couch co-op on a split screen and up to 8 players online on Xbox Live. So interesting. I don't know. The combat really isn't, for me, part of the draw with Minecraft. It's more about exploration and building. The way that you defeat monsters, you just sort of chop them with whatever you've got in your hand. If you've got the best weapon, like a diamond sword, but still you just hold the attack button or the action button and the hand just wobbles and you pound them until they pop. I don't know if that's really going to be make for the most interesting multiplayer battles. I really don't know. It's certainly going to be no Splatoon. So it'd be interesting to see. I think this is coming free. So it's going to be there. I'll definitely have a go at it. But yeah, it's just another facet of Minecraft that they're opening up. I think they hint that there's going to bring other updates to it too. I mean, in this announcement, they say that it's only deathmatch, so they can have another update, can't they, with team deathmatch, capture the flag, etc. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, opening up Minecraft to more competitive experience is an interesting thing to do. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Presumably they've tested it. It must be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So will you play that with like you and Sam?
Yeah, I mean, he makes up games like that anyway, because we'll play Minecraft together. He always wants me to play 2-player with him, and then boss me about. Basically, it's like play 2-player. He did it before. He's like, play 2-player. I was like, okay. And he's like, look what I've done. And he built a mine track. It was pretty good. I was impressed with it. And I said, oh, great, can I get in the minecart? He's like, no. He goes, you've got to stand there, and I'll go in the minecarts. And I said, but you've got about 20 minecarts here. It'd be great if you got the front and I got the back. We can keep them together, and it'll be really good, like a roller coaster. He's like, no, you just stay at the door, and I'll do the rest. And like when I start moving, he's like, no, Daddy, you just stand there. I'm like, Sam, what's the point? What's the point in me being in it? I goes, I didn't want to join in just to do this. I said, you always do this to me. I was like, you always make me have like no fun while you're having the best time. I said, why do you want me to play you and I'm not helping? And he's like, I just want you to be there. He goes, you open that door and close it. And I opened the door because it was like I couldn't see anything. He's like, He's like, I can't believe you've done that, Dad. So we always do that.
I can't believe you've ruined it.
You've ruined the whole thing, and he flings his pack. But he also likes to do a little battle thing. He goes, right, get a sword. And he's like, right, you don't hit me, but I'll just come and attack you. And he's like, attack me, and then I'll die. And I'm like, right, what do we do now? And he goes, well, come and find me again. So I'll respawn, find him. And then if I hit him, he's like, no, Daddy, you don't hit me. Just let me hit you. And I'm like, aren't you bored with this? And he's like, no, I'm quite happy with it. So I've had a little bit of an experience of the combat, but not with anybody over the age of 5. So it may be fun. I don't know. It may be fun, but the combat for me in the game, apart from the tension that you might die and lose all your stuff, the combat itself isn't. I've never found it that much fun. So to have a concept all based around it. I mean, I'm all for it being a level playing field and random items in boxes. Maybe there'll be new weapons or something that'll make it more interesting. I don't know. We'll see. But nevertheless, Microsoft offering more levels through Mojang to get more people interested, to hopefully recompense that 2 whatever it was billion dollars that they paid for the license or for the game. I'm not sure if they've hit profitability on that yet.
I'm sure they will. Just off a couple of mine cons would probably get them to profitability if they now get a share of that merchandise loot.
Well, yeah, they get everything, don't they? They own it all.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, just a little tangent because I'll forget later. I saw a tweet from Notch the other day, sort of laughing, saying, "Oh wow, ha ha ha! I'm so glad that Vive is so much better than Oculus."
Oh really?
Yeah, and he did a little snigger, and then there was just loads of people like replying to him, and he was like, "Yeah, he's like, I've got both my Oculus gathers dust sort of thing," and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting coming from Notch."
Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought that's not in the VR desk or anything. I just thought I'd mention it because we were talking about Minecraft, and that always makes me think about Notch.
Fantastic. Next piece of news is with me, and it's just a quick one that Fallout 4 mods are now available on Xbox One. So PC mods for Fallout 4 on PC have already been out. They're kind of out there. They're already. But we have, for the very first time, we have mods have come to Xbox One via Fallout 4. So these are now live on Bethesda Net. You can have a look at them on Bethesda Net. You need to just kind of log in. And once you log in, you'll be able to see all of the mods that are available. I'm just looking at a page now with all mods, and I'll stick a link to this actually in the show notes. There's about 913 mods for Fallout on the Xbox. So you just literally fire up Fallout 4. There's an update happens to Fallout 4, and then you have an extra option there for mods. I had a quick look at the YouTube clip that they put about them and how you equip them. You can then kind of download, I believe, up to 2 gigs worth of mods, so you can start stacking your mods and have as many mods as you want, and then you can have, like I say, up to 2 gig, and then you can then start playing them. So there's some really interesting ones. I mean, a lot of them seem like a little bit of cheats. Some of them, there's some like unlimited semi-automatic guns. There's modern day guns, which I thought was quite interesting. So it actually kind of gives you machine guns rather than kind of old style guns. There was one that turned dog meat into a cat. But there was also one that I really liked, was that it actually made the Commonwealth grassy, so it turned it into kind of all green grass, lots of foliage.
Oh, that's nice.
So I thought that was quite a nice one. There's one that gives you a lightsaber, but they called it a laser saber, so they didn't get sued by George Lucas
or Disney.
But yeah, there's some really good mods there. Like I say, a lot of them seem to be kind of like unlimited loot or overkill, or some of them are vocal ones. Like there's one that kind of, when you die, you sound like Darth Vader, and it's like no, And there's so there's also some really cool kind of very florally printed shirts as well. But it's really interesting because on Twitter, Bethesda kind of tweeted that the traffic that they've seen for the Xbox One mods was actually 50 times the traffic that happened when they released the PC mods. So they're seeing a lot of appetite from Xbox One players on these mods.
Wow, well, it's been a long time coming, hasn't it?
It really has. This was announced with the game, wasn't it? When last year, when Bethesda did their E3, they said, and mods are coming first to Xbox One. It's also coming to PlayStation 4 in a couple of months' time, but we have them exclusively on Xbox at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite a timely piece of news, because I earmarked this for a bit of a whinge on this week's pod, because I was just thinking about E3 coming up, and I was thinking, what about those mods? I was like, where are they? It's like, surely they can't get away with it, saying that, and it's still not happened, and it's nearly E3. It's a bit ridiculous. I think they had some real problems working out how it's going to work. But yeah, I was thinking, we've got to bring this up, and I was going to ask you about that. I'd just say, where were those mods? And then all of a sudden we got this piece of news that they've done it. I was like, oh wow. So that's good. It's taken a while though. It must be difficult.
It really has. They've done it. It's there. Like I say, there's lots of kind of there's a lot of texture things. But it's really interesting. I might just, because I have Fallout 4 on Xbox, so I might just jump in and have a look and just maybe just kind of add a few mods. Like I say, I really like the grassland, kind of added grass and stuff like that. I really like the idea of that, and so just kind of see what they're like.
Yeah, that's almost like a pre-apocalyptic
yes,
sort of before, but yeah, that's nice, and yeah, it's a great idea, and it gives great longevity to the game, doesn't it? Just switching up the environments like that, it's just really fresh.
Absolutely, I love the idea of putting, like I say, grass, and then maybe equipping those modern guns as well, which sounds a bit of a cheat, but it would be quite cool, just to kind of have modern guns in Fallout, and there's lots of things, even kind of turning your companion, those robot companions. There's lots of kind of changes to that, and there's a wharf for dog meat, and if you don't want that, or as I said, there's a cat as well.
Cat meat.
So there's some really interesting stuff, and I don't know if the mods that have been done for Xbox One will then just kind of lend themselves over to the PlayStation 4. But that'll be interesting to see when it's released in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, interesting to see. And I wonder if it will start a trend. I wonder if now they've done it for Fallout, I wonder if more console games will get mods.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, it would be really good to kind of see them, because I do like it. I do like this kind of the community additions to these games.
The thing is, if the mods are good, they could do the developers and the publishers out of DLC. Well, sometimes mods can be really, really good.
Yeah, I did notice that one of them was an unofficial patch for Fallout 4. So patching a lot of the stuff that's wrong. So I love the guy or team that is just kind of playing Fallout 4 and going, oh, this really irks me. So they're actually writing their own patch for it. Yeah. So I thought that was quite an interesting one.
Definitely. And so your devs got to really have that discussion and think about whether they're going to be okay with that. Because they can take two standpoints, can't you? Say, look, we did our bit, you just have it now. Or you could treat it that like, oh, that embarrasses us. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to have sort of a thick enough skin to not, if you're putting it out there, to not be maybe offended if people like do that patch, because that's a little bit, I don't know. You could take that as like, did we not do it right? If that was me, I'd be like, it was complete. What are you doing patching it? Some pride would come in there, or something like that. But it's definitely a great thing, and I think it takes a lot of courage to do it. And yeah, exactly as I said, it's like free DLC.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. It really is.
Thingy, they couldn't have got horse armour paid for if someone had just brought out a mod with horse armour that was probably better than the horse armour. So there you go.
The old horse armour.
It always comes back to it.
It always comes back to that very first piece of DLC.
It does. Cool. And the next item is with myself. This is just a PS4 sales update, really. Last time we spoke about this, a good few months ago, they were at 33 million units worldwide. But now PlayStation 4 has sold 40 million units worldwide. So that's an official figure.
Wow.
Yeah, this week. 40 million milestone has been passed. Wow. It's the fastest selling PlayStation in the company's history. On the software side of things, 270.9 million PS4 games have now been sold or digitally downloaded.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's some good change, isn't it, that they've got there? As we were saying last week, with it being kind of profitable and stuff, there's your profit.
Yeah, and they've hit profitability, as we said the other week, and they're estimating, which we also reported. We report so much that we everything we say, we've already reported it, but they're saying that they're predicting to shift another 20 million.
So that's 20 million in the next financial year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's all profit.
So that's that's like 50% of that user base upscaling to the PlayStation 4K.
Yeah. But what I don't get is how it could all be profit, because I would have thought that there'd be some hit that they have to spend cash on, like if they're bringing out PlayStation Neo, that would have some cost implication. So I don't know when they say we're at profitability whether that only takes into account PS4s as they are today, or if it's like they've made so much money that they've got the money to spare. I suppose they've got the cash to spare to do the R&D and to get that new hardware out, and they'll still be in profit, which is a truly great place to be, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. I mean, they've had some serious R&D budget, over the last couple of years, because they've got PlayStation VR as well, and that's going to come from this same part of the company's budget as well. So it's really good. It's really good to see. It's absolutely fantastic to see that PlayStation have shipped 40 million. What a great figure.
Yeah. Do you want to hear a quote from Andrew House?
Always. Andrew House is a dude.
He is a dude. He is a dude. I like him. And we'll see him soon. Right, here we go. We are truly grateful for the enormous support from our fans and partners across the globe, which helped us achieve this significant milestone in such a short span of time. We will strive to deliver even more exciting gaming experiences to our users, further driving the momentum and accelerating the expansion of the PS4 platform and its business this fiscal year by offering an unparalleled lineup of games, bringing our virtual reality system PlayStation VR to market, and providing groundbreaking features and network services. That's what he had to say.
Fantastic. It's really funny, isn't it? Because, last year, and we always talk about it's always like November onwards, that holiday window. Last year, Xbox owned it. They had their kind of, their lineup, the best ever lineup they've ever had, and they, which was their tagline, and we were always saying that the PlayStation is just on the back of those third party, but next year they've got to come out, and it sounds like they're kind of gearing up, aren't they? This E3, we're going to have PlayStation VR, we're going to have all of these games, and I think they're really coming, and I wonder if they've got a couple of surprises for us for this year.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, won't it? And the thing is, it's like whoever wins, inverted commas, E3 each year, whoever doesn't, they're always busy in the background, aren't they, on the next big thing?
Yeah. Absolutely, it's like we'll get you next year. Don't worry, and it is always like, and that's one of the great things, and that's why it's fantastic to be a gamer when there's a console war. As much as we don't want to fan those flames, but it's good because it just means that Microsoft and Sony are just trying to one up each other all the time. We don't count Nintendo anymore because they're just that strange child in the corner. but they'll do whatever they want to do. And we love them for it. But Sony and Microsoft are just constantly just trying to one up each other. With like buying studios and bringing out new stuff, and it's fantastic. If you are a multi-platform gamer such as ourselves, then it's just a great time to be into gaming.
Yeah, the competition drives the innovation, and that's what you want. It'd be a gloomy place without the competition.
It really would. As much as I would love that one console and everyone was a publisher, but I just don't think that would bring the innovation that we love.
Yeah, it's interesting that point, because that would kind of be a nice utopia. But where is that drive? Where's that that sort of drive to one up the other people? If it was just all the standard, it kind of might stagnate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It would just be like, okay, you've got the good games this year, we'll have the good games next year. And I know that's kind of what it's a bit like now, but we're seeing innovations. We were reported last week that the new Xbox, the Xbox 1.5, the Scorpio, there's been more rumours this week that this is even more powerful than the PlayStation 4K. So have they looked at the specs and gone, okay, we need to beat that.
Yeah.
If we're going to bring out a midlife refresh of the console, it needs to beat those specs that have been leaked.
Midlife crisis.
Looking at that? Yeah,
it's a midlife crisis for Xbox. It's going to come out punching. Yeah, more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Absolutely, I can't wait to just come June 13th. We're only a couple of weeks away from E3 to just sit there, and I'm just it's gonna be a good time to be a gamer.
Yeah, I saw a rumour saying it was going to be 4 times the power of Xbox as it is at the moment.
That's incredible. That would be just a ginormous PC, surely.
Yeah, well, that's what they're all about, that, aren't they? The Xbox is going to be the easy way to slot yourself into the PC gaming thing. They're unifying everything anyway. So, yeah, they're just going to make it easier. It's just going to be, I think, exactly right, a PC, but without any of the hassle. So it's a powerful PC, starting to get to be quite a powerful PC, but just with your nice little pad and none of the hassle. All nice plug-and-play stuff, nice UI, and, yeah, it's quite interesting, isn't it, that?
It is indeed. Sign me up to that. That sounds gorgeous. Yeah. Especially if there's VR support to it as well. Then I'll be as happy as Larry.
Yeah, I quite like that phrase I came up with then about stagnation. Does standardisation cause stagnation?
It sounds like that musical Youth song. You have to be really old and from the UK to get that joke. So I'm going to move on. It wouldn't be a Gamers of the Lost Park podcast without mention of Viva Pinata. No, of Batman.
You got both in.
Yeah, oh god, imagine if we mix those two. Anyway, Batman. We have the German version, German Amazon, so Amazon Germany, have done what they always do. They have leaked a screenshot of the Game of the Year edition of Batman Arkham Knight. Now, obviously, this is because I gave it Game of the Year, so it should be Gamers Lost Mark Game of the Year edition. I'm gonna get a pen and start putting stickers on this when it comes out in the UK.
Quite right.
Yeah. Game of the Year edition of Arkham Knight is coming. And it will be launching this July for both PlayStation 4 and Xbox. No mention of PC, of course. And this includes all of the DLC. So it includes all of the DLC, even the Batman vs Superman. So you get to play as Batfleck and drive around in that cool Batmobile. So this was just a quick one, but so it looks like we're going to get a Game of the Year edition of Arkham Knight.
Excellent. It'll be good to see. I wonder if it's going to be a PC version of that.
No, like I say, there's no mention of PC on that site, which it was taken down quite quickly, but obviously Reddit grabbed it, and it was just kind of PlayStation 4 and Xbox only.
There's no escape from Reddit or NeoGAF.
There really isn't. Just for a couple of seconds, if that's up, it's tagged.
How?
Oh.
It's like eyes everywhere, always.
People just sitting there refreshing Amazon Germany or Amazon France because they know that they're loose-lipped.
But they're everywhere all the time. Anything.
Really
Anything, it always gets there. Oh, wow. So, yeah, that's really cool. So
but there you go.
The next thing I've got is the story of a PS4 infiltrated by a snake. And not...
Snake!
Dun, 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 dun. This is so bizarre, right? So... a Brazilian guy, his PS4 wasn't working, and he took it to an electrician to find out what was wrong with it. Electrician turns it on, doesn't work. Does the old thing, turns it off, turns it on, and there's a strong, strange smell emanating from the console.
Oh my god.
Is that the smell of electrical wires that have sort of overheated? No, it's not. The electrician opened it up and found a snake inside the PS4.
Wow.
How weird, eh? Not solid snake, not Snake Plissken. Or was it Pilskin? But a real bona fide snake that unfortunately perished when the electrician tried to power up the device. Now, that's a bit weird, because surely the Brazilian kid that brought it in to be looked at would have had it on as well. So maybe the snake died before then in the initial attempt. So anyway, yeah. So the PS4 died as well as the snake.
Like you say, as it died, it just let out a snake.
yeah. And like, there's a little video on the site of the snake on the motherboard, just sort of resting on the motherboard.
Fried and nice and crispy.
Yeah. Some people do eat snake. It's supposed to be quite good, isn't it? But just a warning: don't let any snakes near or inside your PS4 because they will break it. So just in case people weren't aware of that, it's probably best just not to let a snake crawl around inside your PS4.
Other rodents and animals also do the same thing as well.
Yeah, in fact, most things, most living creatures shouldn't be allowed inside your PS4.
Maybe that's why your disc keeps ejecting, because there's like a hedgehog inside your PlayStation 4.
Yeah, or a tribe of red ants or something.
Yeah, they don't like the games you're playing.
Yeah, they're like, that's our home, they're pushing the disc out.
Get out. Right, this is awesome. Right, speaking of PlayStation 4, we did say last week that hopefully we would have them this week, and we do. That's the PlayStation Plus titles for June. So if you have a PlayStation and you're a PS Plus member, this month, starting from next Tuesday, which is the 7th of June, you will be able to get NBA 2K16 for your PlayStation 4. You'll be able to get the absolutely superb Gone Home, and if you're a PS Plus member, I urge you to download this game. It's for free, and it is just probably a couple of hours, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's an amazing walk 'em up game that is in the same ilk as Everyone's Gone to the Rapture or Firewatch or something like that. So it's absolutely fantastic and a must if you're a PlayStation Plus member. If you're on PlayStation 3, you get Echochrome. You can also get Siren Blood Curses episode 1 to 12, and on the PlayStation Vita we have another PSP classic, God of War Chains of Olympus. So that's another God of War game that they're giving away this month, and we also have a PS Vita launch title, Little Deviants.
Wow.
So Gone Home is obviously the standout. I haven't played NBA 2K16. Might be worth downloading a bit of a play. But definitely Gone Home, I think, for me, there is the absolute standout.
Yeah. So who wins this month?
Xbox, surely. Xbox. Well, I don't know, actually.
So I had to go on Goat Simulator today.
Right, so there's I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't want to go to the simulator, I don't want Super Meat Boy. I've played Super Meat Boy, I have Super Meat Boy on the PlayStation 4, I'm looking forward to playing The Crew, but then, if you haven't played Gone Home, then PlayStation
XCOM
then
as well,
PlayStation win.
Isn't there? On Xbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played Gone Home and I want it, so that's the result.
Yes.
And the last and only basketball game I've ever played was on the Dreamcast. It was NBA 2K.
Right.
And you know something? I got into it. I loved it.
Yeah.
So I bet that's... And they do look, sublime, don't they? They look really beautiful. So that's kind of good. It's kind of good. I don't like Goat Simulator. I thought it was poor. I didn't get the joke. I'm not subscribing to the joke. It's poor. I didn't like it.
I'll ask my nephew next time I see him, and I'll see him in a couple of weeks' time. I'll ask him, I'm like, Ed, why is it? Why? Why do you find it so funny? Why do you crack up so much?
It's probably just ironically funny because it's so rubbish, but it's like, well, I don't know. Find out and let me know, because I want to be in on it. I don't.
So what is it? You're a goat, and you're just kind of controlling the goat through the environment?
It's described basically as like a physics playground, physics simulation playground. So you just run the goat about and get him to blow, just run into stuff, bounce him around, and just see what spectacularly silly things you can do with him. That's it.
Wow.
It's kind of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skating, and you can do like little tricks like that as well. And the combo seems to work in the same way, like the same UI. Admittedly, I haven't played it for long, and it did make me laugh because it's just ridiculous. And I think that's it. I think that's what it is. You can play, I think, 4 players on couch co-op and all go around, and I think you can lick stuff with blue, with X, and sort of stick your tongue to stuff. Maybe you can drag stuff around as well. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, I'm not that blown away by it. But yeah, Gone Home I'd like to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I urge you to play that, because that is absolutely fantastic. Both you and Claire will absolutely love it.
Have you done it already then?
I have indeed. Yeah, I played it on the Xbox One.
Oh, wow. And that reminds me, while we're talking about that sort of game, I noticed, and I didn't put this in the notes, but I noticed that Steam have got an offer at the moment for a quite well received PC game known as the Stanley Parable. That is usually £9.99, and it's on offer with 80% off at the moment, £1.99.
Wow.
And it's quite acclaimed. It's a good game. I can't really tell you anything about it because it spoils it. It's one of those games. It's quite a short game. You just go through the experience, but it's quite clever, quite humorous, and by all accounts, it's an experience well worth playing. I downloaded it today. I haven't played it yet, and as I just mentioned, I haven't read any spoilers, so I'll comment further next week. But yeah, if you look up any sort of opinions or how people feel about this game, it's pretty unanimously liked. It's got a heck of a lot of positives on the Steam store. So yeah, £1.99. If you've got a PC and you want a bit of a different experience, it might be worth a look.
Fantastic.
Sorry to interject there.
No, that's really good. That's really good. Always like your little bargains that you find.
Yeah. I'm always on the lookout for a little bargain. It's been out a while, but yeah, just thought I'd mention that.
Wicked.
So, moving on to the next item, and this is good old Cliffy B wading in and giving his opinion on multiplayer-only game pricing, which he gave his opinion on this week. It was actually in the same edition of Edge as we were just talking about with The Last Guardian. So, he says that games like Titanfall and Evolve shouldn't have been full-price games. Full-price games in the US is $60 game, and he doesn't feel that they should have been $60 games. The reason that he says that...
He has a game coming out.
He's got a game coming out. Yeah, he's got a game coming out called Lawbreakers, and he's going to adopt a different model for that. He says that he's learned from the failures of games like Evolve and Titanfall, and that the Lawbreakers model is going to be more reasonable. So he said that they're big fans of Counter-Strike Go, where you pay a small fee, and he compares that to like a small fee that you pay at a bar. He says that's like the cover charge at a bar, and then everybody is in there because they want to be there, and then you've got the microtransactions on top for whatever else you want. So he's like, you sort of give the access cheap because you know you're going to be laying extra costs on top, and I sort of agree with that. You know, like Plants vs. That's free, isn't it? Free to play or free to pay, if you like. So he's saying that for them, $20 to $40 is the kind of range they're thinking is fair. He says that fits into what they feel is an impulse buy price. And I think I can get on board with that. That kind of cost is where you just think, oh, what the heck, I'll just see if it's any good, especially when there's no demos. And then have like your microtransactions within that. So he's saying that he thinks that that's the best of both worlds for that kind of middle tier game. And he said that Evolve and Titanfall, he doesn't think they should have been $60. He thinks that they should have been following the model that he's just suggested, because he sort of doesn't agree with $60 games then putting DLC on top of it. He said that he knows why they do it, because they want to keep the lights on. But he makes a very valid point, and I do feel this. He says that gamers generally tend to smell that and back away a little bit. They sort of smell that money-grabbing sort of ethos, if you like. And I hated Evolve straight away because of that. And Titanfall, you know. And this is another thing, you know. I'm in two minds about Overwatch, because Overwatch sounds like it's amazing, but it's really light on content, and it's a full-price game. And it was up in the air whether it was going to be free to play or not, and you know that would have been amazing. But I think full price for what's available at the moment is too much, even though it's meant to be like just absolute stellar fun. So yeah. It's a difficult one, because I'm gutted I missed the beta. I've been reading more and more positive things about Overwatch. I really want to jump in, but I find the price point prohibitive, because I know that it's light, and yeah, they're going to bring out more stuff over time. And the one good thing I'll say is the microtransactions they're bringing out are all just cosmetic. So there's no game-changing microtransactions there. But ultimately, it's an online-only game for a full price, and I've never been a fan of that. You know, we knew it was Star Wars, but you know what is Star Wars. But yeah, I'd sort of changed the story to be more about Overwatch, but I'm conflicted about Overwatch, Anthony. I want your advice, man.
No, I'm the same because, I really enjoyed the beta. I jumped into the beta. I really enjoyed it. But I haven't bought the full price game, or I haven't bought the full title because I don't see anyone playing it on my friends list. I think there are a couple of guys that have started playing it, so I might kind of reach out to them and just kind of see what they're thinking of it, whether they're playing together. But up until even at the weekend, I was walking through town and I was thinking, oh, should I get Overwatch? Because I really enjoyed it. I tweeted out a lot about it during the beta. It looks absolutely stunning. It played really well. There's no aim. It's very kind of old school kind of shooter mechanics. And I really enjoyed it. The raft of characters. I enjoyed it a lot more than I did Battleborn. So I'm as torn as you because I think if there was a group of people going, yeah, let's get Overwatch, then I would just be jumping in. But I'm not hearing that at the moment from my kind of on my friends list. I'm not kind of seeing, where kind of when Destiny, when the Division came out and Destiny, when that came out, you just saw all your friends were playing. You just saw those kind of guys that are jumping on every night. You just saw them playing that game, but I'm not seeing that with Overwatch yet. So there are a couple of guys that I've seen kind of on the PlayStation that they've played it. So I am going to just kind of message them and just kind of see what it's like. But if I saw kind of a group of guys playing it, I would just happily jump on and just start playing it. And I think you're right. I think there is a story mode in there, but I think it's a little bit light because it's not enough to hook Nicola to play as well. Because if she was like, oh, that looks really good, I'll play it, then I would probably have got a couple of copies. But I'm just not. I'm hearing good things. I'm hearing people are enjoying it, but at the same time, I've got Star Wars Battlefront for that, and I'm happy to play Star Wars Battlefront. So do I need another one of these? And, if it's a case of do I have Overwatch or Star Wars Battlefront, for me, because I'm such a Star Wars fan, then that's actually going to edge Overwatch out.
Yeah, it's going to edge out a new IP, and that's completely understandable. And yeah, I'm the same, Overwatch is like nowhere near me in regard to my peers, not seeing anything about it, but I'm just hearing and seeing it it's more prolific online. It's just like there's a maybe it's just like a fabricated hype. I'm seeing a wave a wave of hype and just gathering momentum. But yeah, I feel like I'm missing out.
But you heard me on the podcast, after the beta, I was like, this game's superb, and like I say, I really enjoyed it. But I think it's one of those ones that lives and dies with a team, and without that team, I just don't think that you will have as much fun.
Yeah, it really sounds good though. Short matches as well, very old school, like you say, you hit the nail on the head there. It appeals to me a lot, but I just can't justify it now. If it's £20, it's £20, I get it. But
yeah,
but maybe it's one that Blizzard are going to keep giving this game content. It's a hit anyway, regardless of if me and you have got it. It's a hit by all accounts. So it's going to get more content. The price will probably stay around about the same anyway. So I'll just dive in when it's more meaty. Nintendo did the same with Splatoon. It was quite light, and they did deliver with keep upgrading stuff. So I suppose it's the same as that. But then I didn't buy Splatoon either, though. But I did quite enjoy it. That was another colourful game. It's nice that it's colourful. It's nice that it's a shooter that's colourful.
And it was, there was one that was in a Japanese garden, and it was amazing. The pink blossoms that were there, and just the colours that were coming off of that environment were just absolutely just stunning. I was really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's got a great style. It's got loads of characters, like over 20 playable characters. So maybe you could argue that the content's there in the diversity of the characters, and people are saying, I do read reviews a lot and listen to podcasts that have mentioned it, and people are saying that it's like, apart from this issue, that it's a bit light and the microtransactions, but at least they're not like game-changing things, they're just aesthetic, that it's like almost perfect. I'm hearing like people saying things like, throwing around phrases like almost perfect. Yeah. 10 out of 10 game, just a shame about this, that, and the other. And I think I texted you or mentioned it to you, and I was like, Anthony, have we missed Overwatch? And you'd be like, I didn't. And I was like, no! If only I
was in the bell. I did tell you.
And you did. You proper told me, sold me, and I'm really sad.
But that's it, like I say, I couldn't afford it in the beta, but it's just, I'm potentially playing The Division on Sunday with some guys that have, there's some guys in my team, they're the ones that have been playing Overwatch, so I might while we're playing The Division, I'll interrogate them and try and get all of and see if they're enjoying it, because if they're like, yeah, we're enjoying it, we love it, we've got a squad together, then I would happily jump in. But I have to think that, like I say, I've got Star Wars Battlefront, Halo 5's coming with those firefights, the Warzone firefight. Will I actually play Overwatch as much as I would like to play?
Yeah, and that's a good point, because if you're going to play it, you've got to play it enough to get reasonably good at it. Otherwise, it's just not fun. So yeah, I think you're probably the same as me with this, and I'd say I could only pick one of them to get good at, because they haven't got the time to get good at more than one. And even ones is difficult. I mean, I haven't played Star Wars Battlefront much, but the thing is,
absolutely,
if Battlefront does look beautiful, but what if Overwatch, even though it's not Star Wars, I mean, and it is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, what if it is just, what if it's got something there that Star Wars hasn't, like that hook that you just want another go.
Yeah, absolutely. If their listeners are playing Overwatch, then please, tweet us, email us, kind of let us know what you're thinking of it, because it may just be it is something that we're missing, and we really should actually jump into it.
No death threats, please.
Yeah, no death threats that we're not playing it. I can't believe it's.
Are you insane? It's the best thing since sliced bread. I suppose the big test is when you'll chat to your Division guys and you'll say, yeah, about Overwatch, and they're like, yeah, that's what we're playing. You're not playing that. We're not playing Division. We're playing Overwatch. And then that would be, you'd be like, whoa.
That's it. If Sunday doesn't happen because they're too into Overwatch, then I know I need to maybe buy a copy of Overwatch.
If that happens, just message me straight away, and I'll have to buy Overwatch and join in with you guys.
Yes, absolutely, because that's another thing, isn't it? If they're just starting to play, then I'd rather be kind of at the ground level with those and then kind of work their way up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Fine, we'll report back a bit more next week to see if my Division game actually happened, or did Overwatch steal its thunder.
Yeah, and if only Overwatch's pricing was in line with Cliffy B's vision, I'd be a happy man.
Yes, absolutely. No, it sounds like it could, like I say, it's that realm of kind of impulse buy, but then kind of more content available when you're in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you don't mind giving them a bit of extra money because you think, I've had such a great experience for cheap. I got a bit of spare money. They've actually made me feel that this is such a fully formed game. I don't mind buying this and that, so I'm happy to spend the extra money. So there's a balance. I think what's going on here as time goes by with games that have got different approaches and different models to DLC and sort of lighter content games, the feelers are out there and they're feeling their way through it and it's between the consumers and the publishers and they're just trying to hit that medium where everybody's happy. It's not going to go away. I always thought that we'd be able to fight it, but it's not going to go away. It's a good thing for the developers and that, because if it's done well, everybody's a winner. But it's just finding that sweet spot where everyone's happy and no one's moaning.
Absolutely. Like you say, you've already gave a couple of examples, because ages ago, a couple of years ago, there was very much kind of, your Titanfalls, your Evolve. That's how the industry was going. It was all about that kind of multiplayer only. That's what they thought. It was like, all we need is multiplayer. We don't need single player. But then the moment they started doing that, they realised that the fan base does actually like single player as well. So then they have to make sure that that's in that package as well. But then they're like, okay, we'll give you single player, but we're going to give you multiplayer, but you're going to have to buy more to keep it fresh. And if you're invested in a platform, if you're someone that just plays Call of Duty, all you do is play Call of Duty online, those DLC things are just like a really nice refresh. It's extra maps in your rotation, and it's just a really nice thing I remember when Nicola and I were deep into Horde mode on Gears of War, and then they brought out some new Horde maps, and that was fantastic because we were trying to get to level 50. There was achievement we were trying to get, and and we were kind of dying, and we were getting fed up with those maps, so bringing in a couple of new maps was quite nice. But you're right, I do think a lot of the stuff that we're seeing right now is just the industry going, does this work? With Halo and Uncharted giving DLC away for free, or where Star Wars Battlefront giving you kind of big pieces of content in a kind of a quarterly basis. So at some point they'll all hit the sweet spot and they'll find that kind of that magical moment, and that's what we'll have maybe for a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be It'll be fun getting there. I'll be glad when we get there, though.
Yeah, it's a fun journey, but I really can't wait for us to arrive.
Yeah, it's one of them things where the journey actually isn't it isn't the experience, it's more about the destination this time.
We'll have to keep asking on the podcast, are we there yet? And as our main piece of news kind of has a full stop, it's now time for us to head over to the VR news desk for the latest in VR.
VR desk.
Yeah, here we are once again at the VR desk. What news have we got for you this week in the amazing and wonderful world of VR? Well, first of all, the rumour mill, as it always grinds and turns, is giving us little tidbits that there might be an Xbox One VR announcement at E3.
Ooh, interesting.
Could there be? Well, it looks like there will be, because those eyes that are always everywhere. A NeoGAF guy has spotted on the E3 website that there's some Xbox VR categories, or Xbox One VR categories, with a few developers registered. So you've got a VR category for Xbox One VR, and you've got Rebellion, 3D Rudder, Maximum Games, and Readily Information Company, all signed up or registered, ready for this. So it looks like we could be getting some Xbox VR announcements at E3, as well as obviously we're expecting a lot of PSVR stuff, but it looks like we're going to get some Xbox VR stuff as well. So that's interesting. Rebellion made Battlezone VR for PSVR. I don't know if that's finished, but they're working on it if it's not. I
think that's going to be a launch title, isn't it? I think that's that kind of launch title, kind of running around in mechs, almost like a Rocket League for VR.
Oh, okay. 3D Rudder make a feet-based virtual reality controller.
Right.
So that's interesting, because legs have been left out, really, in VR. It's all about, I think, first and foremost, obviously, it's the eyes and sight. Then you've got the hands with the Vive. But yeah, the feet as well. Getting to, I don't know what they could do with it, because space is an issue. So I don't know what that could be. But that'd be interesting if they could deliver some kind of USP that's above and beyond what we already know. And something about legs or feet tracking could be really, really cool.
Yeah, that could be really cool. Or there could be some kind of peripheral that you have to walk on. Like that big round circle.
Oh, yeah, that Octo treadmill thing. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, could this be that Microsoft might, because obviously their keynote is about 4 hours before PlayStation VR or before PlayStations. So could it just be that Microsoft might just kind of go, oh, and also we've got this, similar to last year where we had the... Help me out. What's their AR thing? Their
HoloLens. Yeah.
So we had a HoloLens bit with Minecraft. Could we get a bit here? But we got Xbox One VR.
Yeah. It could. Yeah, it could be, because HoloLens was completely, just an out there thing. It's like it's not coming soon, but this is just where we might get one day. It's not going to be working.
And I kind of think that was because Microsoft thought that PlayStation were going to do a lot more VR. That they were going to do a lot more VR at their conference. So maybe I thought they wanted to get out and say, we're just as innovative too. And that's it, isn't it? Where they're like 4 hours apart, they really have that. They really have to play that game with each other.
Yeah, that would make absolute sense. And regardless that it wasn't coming out on the Xbox, I got so excited when they did that, and they did that Minecraft on the table thing. It was like Minecraft table or whatever, that command they gave, and it just drew the map on the coffee table. And I was just like, wow. And I was just so excited by it. And even though it wasn't an Xbox thing, it just made me feel good about being part of Xbox. Because it's like, I'm with the people that have done this. So maybe there's a possibility that could come to Xbox, So it's really cool.
Yeah.
And also, since that rumour came out, there's also been another addition to it, that 2 more categories have emerged and 2 more companies have registered. So they've got Virtual Reality Xbox and Virtual Reality Xbox Live as 2 more categories, and you've got Big Ben Interactive and Immersion Corporation listed as registered with those. Now, Big Ben do WRC, and they've been working on I think it's just about to be released, if it's not just been released, Sherlock Holmes, The Devil's Daughter. So racing games, perfect fit for VR. Sherlock Holmes game, that would be awesome. Kind of pointy, clicky adventure. I think that would work very well in VR. And then Immersion, these guys are haptics people. So they're working on haptic feedback stuff. So the haptic feedback is where you feel, like a rumble in the pad. That's haptic. And like the idea of like a haptic bodysuit would be that if you're walking uphill, or you'd feel some kind of force against you, for instance, to slow you down and things like that. So, and that rudder, that 3D rudder working on sort of feet technology in VR, it makes me think that, first of all, with all these little instances coming out, it sounds very much like Microsoft could be talking about Xbox VR in a few weeks, but also that we really could have something that's got something unique about it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's just that little extra icing on the cake, which is we're doing VR, but we've got a little kind of Microsoft slant on it as well.
Yeah. It's like we've already know that you can look around in VR. We already know you can like sort of track your hands and walk around. But what about if you could use your feet? And what about you're actually going to feel this, like more than just a rumble. We're going to do this. We're going to have it so that, I don't know, when you get shot, you wear a chest plate and you feel it sort of in your chest. We give you like a bit of a shock there, a bit of a rumble, a bit of a thud. Yeah, it could be really interesting. So that's the first piece of news. It's not long to wait to find out, luckily.
No. Come on, E3.
Yeah, I really hope, though, after seeing this, that they do, because it just seems... I know it's just a rumour, but that evidence, I'm going to be disappointed now if there isn't like a... And I'm hoping it's not Oculus. I'm hoping it's if it's Oculus, that's fine, and it could be that they're partnering with Oculus and they're going to add these peripherals to Oculus. So with the combined power of like Facebook and Microsoft, I mean, the sky's the limit, isn't it, really? So they could come out with something amazing, actually, for that. So if it is Oculus, so be it. And then they've also coupled that with the 4 times powerful Xbox Scorpio. It's just like, boom. Microsoft have won E3. It's like, the Neo's like only half the power of that. The NX is like rubbish compared to that. I'm just going to sell all my consoles and live in Microsoft VR with my new ultimate power PC console.
Yeah, absolutely. They really could. If all of those rumours do come together and the sum of their parts are what we're hoping for, then it could be a very interesting E3 indeed.
It could be. I mean, I thought last year's E3 was going to be sort of a VR E3, and it wasn't so much. But as the ball rolls and we get closer to this E3, I think this is the E3, the VR E3 that I was expecting last year. I think it's going to be this year. Yeah, we shall see. We'll see in a couple of weeks. And next, so we were talking about sports and VR in the gym either last week or the week before, and it turns out that The Verge reported on Vive, HTC Vive, have got a rowing machine hooked up to Vive so that you can row your way through wherever you want. They say that the best place they found was rowing yourself through space. So
excellent.
Off you go on your rowing machine, and each heave you sort of propel yourself through asteroid fields and galaxies far, far away. Now, imagine if they...
Well, you need that in the
Olympics, don't you?
To get to your... you don't need any fuel. You can just row to that planet that you're trying to get to.
Who cares about a frame shift drive to travel at the speed of light when I could row probably for several lifetimes, and I would get nowhere near, but I'd just feel like a new man.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to row to the sun. So that's quite a good idea. But if you do a lot of exercise in VR, I can't really comment on Oculus because I haven't done a lot of exercise in Oculus, but I've done long gaming sessions in Vive. And when you're getting really active, it gets a bit hot and sweaty in the display thing. Now, coupling that with some serious working out, I don't know, I think you'd missed up the lenses. And you don't want anything to touch the lenses. They're sort of sacred. You don't want drips of sweat all going into your visor. So I know we talked about it the other week, and I never thought about this thing, but it could be a bit nasty. I don't think it's sort of a match made in heaven. Even though being so distracted from the mundanity of working out would be fantastic. It's not going to be... Well, if it's somebody else's, if it's at the gym and it's not yours, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to hold off on buying the rowing machine just at the moment. And that's the other thing. They're expecting a lot, HTC, because first of all, you've got to have the space to have the Vive. Then you have a Vive and the computer, and it's like, oh, well, you've got all that. Well, now you need a rowing machine. What are they going to get us to get next? Their ambition knows no bounds. What's it going to be next, man? I mean, at least a bike, a little exercise bike would have been a little bit more moderate, wouldn't it? And you could have cycled your way through the galaxy. That would be pretty cool.
Yes, but how does is the Vive tracking your motion? So as you go back, that's when it's propelling you forward.
Yeah, that's the impression that I get from the article from TheVerge.com. But they don't go that into it. They just say it's great. They just say you don't need to know anything else. It's basically you're rowing through space, and who needs to know more than that? I'm inclined to side with that. It's fair enough.
Yeah, absolutely. You imagine to do that? It'd just be like I say, the sweat aside. It's just such a great idea, isn't it?
Yeah, sweat aside, and that's the thing. I put the sweat aside up till now, and now I'm seeing the sweat and thinking about the sweat. It's a shame because there's nothing I'd like more than to do a massive workout in VR. But not on my system, mate. Not in my backyard.
But you wear a 70s headband anyway, don't you?
You've got to do that. This is where the resurgence of the 70s headband obviously is going to be, and I pioneered it. Because I was saying that it'd be all right at a gym if it's not your equipment. But we've mentioned this before. Imagine the sloppy, slushy, foamy thing you go on after the next guy. If you're not first, you're going to lose out, man. You're going to get a squelch. Yeah. You don't want a VR squelch.
Exactly. If you're not the first one in the gym in the morning, the rest of the day is a little bit down.
Ring out the phone before you get on. Hey. So yeah,
lovely.
We'll see how that evolves. Until the stuff gets a lot more lightweight, I'm not sure if it'll evolve very far. And finally, this is awesome, man. A game has come out on Steam for VR. It's only for Vive, unfortunately. But it'd only really work on Vive. It's the game we've all been waiting for. It's Star Wars lightsaber game.
Oh yes.
Except it's not. Well, it's called Lightblade VR because it's not Disney. It's not officially Star Wars. But some guys have created what is pretty much a lightsaber game for HTC Vive, and it's only £2.79, and it looks really cool. It looks really cool. It's mapped to the controller. And you can have a single lightsaber, or you can dual wield, and it also shows like a double-bladed one. And the little trailer, I haven't bought it yet, but I think I'm going to have to. £2.79. I don't think there's much game to it, but you like sort of. It's a bit like the training thing that Luke does. You think you just deflect lasers that are firing at you, but the lightsaber's there, and then you press the button, it goes, and isn't that all you need for a start? For £2.79, that's all I need.
I hope it powers on with that noise, because that would just be that. That'll be
as close as they can
at that point.
as close as they can probably get without getting sued, I imagine. And it's got 84% positive reviews on Steam. And yeah, I'm going to put a link to it because it looks really cool. And it's just, I can't wait to have a go at this. And it's the dream, isn't it? If you're going to have VR with tracked hand controllers. Everybody wants a lightsaber game, and if nothing else, this is a proof of concept that an actual Star Wars lightsaber game could be really, really cool. So I'm going to get involved with this and hope that Disney, well, not that Disney will be working on it because they're not making games anymore, but that they license it, or somebody gets the license to make a VR lightsaber game officially, because I just imagine it would be fantastic.
Absolutely. Don't forget, we do have that Star Wars Battlefront experience coming to PlayStation VR. So, and that would be, the Move controller would be like such a perfect pretend lightsaber.
It would, and I do believe I saw. I don't know whether it was fabricated, but I'm sure I saw a trailer that showed lightsaber wielding, and it was on Hoth, and stormtroopers were firing lasers, and the lightsaber was being used to sort of defend the player. So yeah, it's probably already there.
Yes.
And this is the thing I was thinking about earlier when we were talking about Sony and the money that they've got, and PSVR, and the same for Microsoft really, is on Vive, for instance, there's no real heavy hitters in the games. It's more about the experience of VR, and that's enough for me at the moment anyway. That's enough for me. But PSVR might lack in power of the hardware, but they're going to make up for it in their licensed properties and the money that they've got to make real powerhouse games. I'm hoping, real meaty games for VR that are going to they're just going to be. I think they're going to be the envy of people of the PC people that might have, maybe a better experience, but like 10 times the cost. And they're going to be looking over at the PlayStation cheaper version, and they're going to be thinking, I don't care that it's not room scale. I don't care that it might not be the same sort of resolution as I've got. I want to play this game, and I've got a feeling that Sony, going to be delivering some great games with some real content, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with. What I'm not looking forward to is wanting one, because it's sort of like it's surely a little bit over the top to have more than one VR headset in the house in 2016, but we shall see what they come out with.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe it's not. Maybe that will be the norm. You start kind of having multiple headsets. But like I say, they both do give you, similar to having two consoles, they both do give you different titles, and they both have very unique software coming out. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, at one stage, I never thought I'd have more.
That's how you can sell it to Claire.
Yeah, exactly. Claire, are you listening? It's like, I only had one console once, but now it's, you've got to have more. So maybe that's it. You're just going to have the floor littered with different headsets.
Superb. And on that conundrum, that's about it for this episode. Again, big thank you for listening. Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter, we're at LostSparkPod. You can find us on YouTube and also on the Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 community. Darren, where can the guys find you online?
Yeah, you get me as Wythamator on PS4, Xbox One, Twitch, and Wii U, I believe. I think that's my gamer tag on there. Wow, I thought I'd mention that. Dazagamer on YouTube and at DazWhittam on Twitter.
Fantastic. From me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter. I don't know what I am on Nintendo. It's one of those for sure. If you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Also, if you're feeling generous, please leave us a review on iTunes. So that's about it for this week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.